A very good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to take the honor of welcoming each one of you to the International Conference on Sustainable Initiatives in Agriculture, Business and Management 2022.
Would like to start this conference of prayer.
इनको माइक बंद कर दो हां इनको माइक बंद कर साथ में मुझे पड़ा
गणनायकाय गणदैवताय गणाध्यक्षाय धीमहि गुणशरीराय गुणमण्डिताय गुणाध्यक्षाय धीमहि गुणशरीराय गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भानुचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि। Would like to welcome our guests to the desk right now. Today we have with us Shri Sridhar Ishwaran, head of Sunati Foundation. We're so blessed to have your presence with us, sir. Please applaud as he's coming on today.
We also have with us today Dr. Anita Patra, Registrar of Centurion University of Technology and Management. Please welcome her with a big round of applause.
To welcome now the convener of Professor J. Also the Associate Dean of MS School of Swaminathan Agriculture. Please welcome him with a round of applause.
I would like to welcome Dr. Uma Nayak, sir, a Dean, School of Management, Centurion University of Technology and Management. With a round of applause.
would like to welcome Dr. S.P. Nanda sir, Dean of School of Agriculture here at Centurion University. Please welcome him with a round of applause. Light and brightness have always been equated with positivity, and as motivation is seen as a harbinger of good. To start us off on this auspicious note, we will now have the lighting of lamp ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, to do the honors today, we have an esteemed gathering amongst us. May I please request the following dignitaries to join us in the lighting of lamp ceremony. I would like to welcome the chief guest we have with us today, Sridhar Ishwaran sir. Please welcome them with a round of applause. Dr. Anita Patra ma'am, Registrar of Century University, Professor J. Anil Kumar sir, Associate Dean, Dr. Makant sir, Dean of School of Management, and S.P. Nanda sir, Dean of School of Agriculture. Thank you so much, ma'am and sirs, for doing the honors. I would like to hand over this time to the convener of this conference, Professor J. Anil Kumar sir, to address the gathering regarding the conference. Please welcome him.
Namaskar, very warm welcome to the dignitaries on and off dais, seniors, my dear colleagues and students. So I am J. Anil Kumar, Associate Dean, MS Swaminathan School of Agriculture and Agribusiness Management Domain Coordinator for School of Management, Century University. The university's journey, we should know about the university. We have guests here, so I thought I would inform about the journey of the university. The Centurion University actually started as Jagannath Institute for Technology and Management back in 1997, and which later got transformed into Centurion University for Technology and Management through a legislative assembly act in 2010. So it became the first private state university for Odisha. So it has got a 120 acres campus, a gigantic campus on the foothills of the Eastern Ghats in a serene environment. This campus is located at a place called Patakandi, which is in Gajpati district, which is one of the challenging and aspirational districts of Odisha. So it is the only technological university in South Odisha. It is a NAC A grade, UGC notified, AICTE, ICR approved educational institution. See, the founders actually thought that this is the right place to set up an educational institution, considering the topography and other economically backward areas. So they thought of bringing in changes to the livelihoods in this area, and this was actually considered as a tool of the institution or university was set up as a tool of empowerment and improvement of livelihood. The university and its group concerns, we have 5 to 6 companies within the group which are into apart from teaching, training, production, community engagement to ensure hands-on experience, experiential learning, practice-linked pedagogy, and uh, they get a real-time exposure before getting into the market. So they are market ready. Apart from the School of Management that is hosting this conference, there are several other schools like School of Agriculture, School of Fisheries, School of Agriculture Bioengineering, School of Paramedics and Allied Health Sciences, School of Engineering and Technology, School of Vocational Education and Training, School of Applied Sciences, School of Veterinary Sciences is another feather in our cap. We recently got an approval and we are in the process of setting up the school. The School of Management was set up in the year 2005 and offers 3 types of courses, 2 postgraduate courses, one MBA Agriculture Management, another MBA Rural and Urban Development Management, and Bachelor of Business Administration. So every year more than 120 students pass out of School of Management under different streams, and the school boasts of 100% placement year on year. So this is a remarkable achievement considering the location disadvantage we have, but the management is keen to give the students experiential learning, the exposure before they get into the market, they are ready. So there is a lot of demand for our students. The management school believes in imparting experiential and immersive training to the students that actually paved the way to the successful. So that has helped them to become successful entrepreneurs and also pick up high-flying careers. I am privileged to host you all at the International Conference on Sustainable Initiatives in Agriculture, Business and Management 2022, being held on July 22nd and 23rd, that is today and tomorrow. So this is about sustainability. Sustainability is not just about meeting our own needs, but it is also about not compromising on the ability of. So we have to retain the resources. We also have to use them efficiently. So when we talk about resources, this is not only about natural resources. It is also talking about the social and economic resources. So coming to the agriculture part, so less than 5 million Indian farmers practice sustainable agriculture practices. So there is a lot of scope for improvement in this area because the topsoil, the natural the groundwater, the natural resources, the biodiversity is getting depleted year on year. So this is actually a dangerous sign which has to be addressed. A lot of Western countries have already risen to the occasion. They have started taking measures, but India is yet to wake up and address this issue. The recent pandemic has also led to radical changes in the way Indian global businesses operate. Some of the businesses like IT, ITS, education and healthcare have seen radical changes and growth during and after the pandemic. So the pandemic has provided new impetus to technology-driven sectors like fintech, edtech, healthtech. The fintech sector in India has received more than $100 billion funding in the last 3 years. And if I take last 5 years, it has received more than $300 billion. So there was a drop in 2020, immediately after the pandemic, but subsequently things have improved and again they are back on the normal track. So this has actually helped build growth of existing companies and rise of or sprouting of new startups as well. So in the banking and finance industry, lot of changes have happened. So people are talking about video KYC, contactless or branchless banking, UPI payments. It is astonishing to see that the UPI payments have increased from 2.06 lakh crore in March 2020 to 10.14 lakh crores in June 2022. That is more than 5 times growth in the UPI payments. So thanks to the pandemic, lot of changes, positive changes have happened in the banking space as well. To come into the collections, which is very important in the banking, physical cash collection has been replaced by recoveries through phone pay, IMPS, WhatsApp Pay, Google Pay. There are so many other options which have come up. Personal and physical meetings have been replaced with Zoom calls, Google Meets, and virtual meetings, virtual interactions. And 9 to 6 brick to mortar offices have been replaced with work from home or work from anywhere models. So these are certain positive changes that I can see. Improved solutions, technology, and or products are required for efficiency in cost, process, and improving operations. Optimum utilization of human resources, timely availability of credit, market linkage, storage, transportation, improvement in all these facilities which actually will enable building a sustainable and inclusive agriculture and business in India. Need for adapting a healthy lifestyle, work-life balance, stress management, time management, succession planning, business continuity planning, etc., have assumed a lot of significance during and after the pandemic. So the pandemic is not going anywhere, it is here to stay, but it is our strategies, our technology, our processes, or our products which have to take care of the changes, radical changes in the society and the climate. The proposed international conference is being envisaged to promote research in 7 areas, namely agriculture and allied, banking and finance, strategy, business communication, entrepreneurship and innovation, organizational behavior, human resources, and marketing. I am sure that the 2-day conference will lead to many inventions, discoveries, new things, products that will step up the progress in the chosen research areas or themes. Once again, many thanks to the guest speakers for accepting our invite, sparing their valuable time here. My best wishes to all the participants here, as well as online. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for addressing the gathering. Now we will welcome the Vice Chancellor of Central University of Technology and Management, Professor Supriya Patnaik, to address the gathering.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning.
Yes, we can.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear.
Okay. Good morning to everybody. First of all, I would like to sincerely apologize for not being physically present there. I would like to welcome all the participants to this international conference on sustainable initiatives in agriculture, business and management, trends and way forward 2022. It's indeed an honor and privilege to address this August gathering. At the outset, without trying to repeat what Mr. Anil Kumar has said, I'd like to speak a few lines about the university for the benefit of the external participants and esteemed guests. Centurion University of Technology and Management is duly recognized as a pioneer in skill-integrated higher education. Its unique model lays specific emphasis on creating sustainable livelihoods on a national scale in challenging geographies through education that results in employability and sparks entrepreneurship. This model has been recognized by multiple governments, central and state, international organizations such as UNESCO and the World Bank, as well as policy think tanks such as Niti Aayog. We have continually strived to be a best-in-class human resource development hub that builds employable, enterprising, and society-centric youth through industry-relevant education, skill development, innovation, production, and technology development. The founders, faculty, and staff are fully committed to its credo, shaping lives, empowering communities. Now, coming to the theme of the conference, at Centurion, we believe in building sustainable futures, whether agriculture, technological, or economic futures, along with the neighboring communities and our partner organizations and industries. I know Professor Anil Kumar has actually outlined what are the problems in agriculture and all the fields that we are talking about today. And I'm sure that the deliberations will just add value and will trigger research in these areas. For this, we need to explore the several futures, be it agriculture, technology, economy, or energy futures for the benefit of humanity. At Centurion, we work at the cusp of all these futures, which are closely interconnected. We train our students to ensure that agriculture is economically viable, socially responsible, and ecologically sound. We encourage them to innovate, to foster economic and social development, while taking into consideration the natural resources. Further, we encourage them to work with communities to set goals so as to reduce energy, water, and waste, thus improving people's lives, the environment, and future generations. If the entire academic and practice community works with such goals, then we no doubt will be able to make our society a better place for the present and future generations. With these words, I would like to once again welcome one and all to this international conference on sustainable initiatives in agriculture, business, and management. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today and addressing the session. We have with us today Dr. Anita Patra, Registrar of Century University, Technology and Management. I would like to hand over this time to ma'am.
Present here. Welcome to all the guests present here. Is on Dr. Sridhar. Yeah, Dr. Sridhar from Samnati, Dr. Salim, who has joined us online from Texas. Vice Chancellor Madam, Lieutenant Colonel Mahabhadra sir is present from Agrilink here. All the dignitaries who are online present, our speakers, guest speakers, keynote speakers, my colleagues on the dais, Mr. Anil Kumar, Dr. Umakant Nayak, Dr. Eskinanda, my colleagues whom I can see on the dais, and dear students. This is a international conference that we are going to have for the next 2 days, today and tomorrow, which is on sustainable initiatives in business, agriculture, management. So as Vice Chancellor Madam has already pointed out, what is sustainability for Centurion? We are already committed to the SDGs, we are saying. In our DNA is shaping lives and empowering communities. And we know that what is sustainability? Doing our business, doing our activities without doing any negative impact on the environment or on society. So let's be aware whenever we are doing any such business decisions, strategies or activities, let us see that how we can give back also to the community and society. Yes, economic consideration is important. So is environment and social. It cannot be one way all the time. So I think a lot of emphasis has already been given and started, and all the business entities have understood that yes, it's time to be having strategies which will make us sustainable. Yes, it is a win-win opportunity for all. What we call also a shared value opportunity, where you do a trade-off. You are always responsible for the environment and society, while you are also responsible for improving the shareholders or stakeholders' profits, or what we can say, we know as business students that everything is set up for business profit, maximization of profit in fact. But there is always a way out where environment, society can be considered while taking those decisions. Now, considering India, we can see a lot of people have spoken. Anand sir was just speaking earlier that agriculture is another important or one of the most important thing, and the micro and small enterprises, which are very important. They are almost, we can say, if they become or when they make strategies and they do activities which is socially responsible, environmentally responsible, it can be done. For example, we can talk about renewable sources of energy usage, which can be easily done in each of these sectors. Similarly, using sustainable materials, which does not give harmful impact to the society. All this can be done. We, as a campus, we have said zero plastic campus. We should be having energy efficiency with renewable energy, alternate sources of energy. When Madam was talking about the sustainability, I was thinking, we are trying to become not only sustainable, also self-sustainable. If you see in this campus, we can boast about self-sustainability also. For example, all the wastages, dry waste goes to vermicomposting goes to our agricultural land, STP water goes to our agriculture fields, students use it for their research purposes inside the campus. Not only that, we have the dairy unit, which from where we get the cow dung and goes to the vermicompost. We have the dairy processing unit, where all the products which is processed again consumed by us inside the campus through our mess and our staff and faculty students. So it's almost we are trying to also become, and we have being on the grid, which means again the energy that we use again goes back to the grid. So every institute has opportunity, every organization has opportunity, every individual has opportunity to give their bit, to do their bit, to give back or have a sustainable model, sustainable decision model. We know that a lot of investors have been discussing now, have been deciding to invest or not based on ESG models. I have seen that there are speakers who talk on this, there are speakers, I have seen the themes, and I am sure that all our guest speakers, all our deliberations, discussions will give us good opportunity, give us new ideas, and help us all to implement sustainable models. And I'm sure that it is a great opportunity for our students to benefit from these deliveries that will happen here, discussions that will happen here. Not only that, they have got the opportunity to present their papers, their research articles and all. And I'm sure that it will be a great learning experience for the students, faculty and all of us. And I congratulate the organizers of this event, School of Management, and all my colleagues who have, and our students who have been a part of this conference management, and I wish them a great success. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable work. So we are honored to have Sri Sridhar Ishwaran sir, head of Samunati Foundation. I would like to hand over this time for you, sir. We would like to invite Dr. Rubakant Naik sir, Dean School of Management, to address the gathering.
Thank you. Good morning, all the dignitaries present in the online mode and offline mode, particularly on the dais, Dr. Sridhar, on it, Mr. Madam Dr. Anita and SP on the side, and all my colleagues in this room, or maybe some of them are on online mode, and guests present over here, and all my dear students. This is an opportunity to learn, to gain more knowledge. As we are moving towards a new era, why I am saying a new era? Because so many changes happening in all the front, as Anil sir has spoken about that, I will not repeat. And in this changing scenario, what is happening? Change was inevitable, change was continuing, change will continue. Only thing, the pace of change has increased. So adapting to the pace of change is becoming difficult. That's what I am finding in today. Not only it is difficult for the industry, it is difficult for human beings, it is difficult for the planet to sustain. So as other speakers have spoken about sustainability, I am here to speak about the crux of that. We need to concern about three things. One, yes, from School of Management, definitely we will talk about business and profit. So first P will be, I'll talk about three P's. First is or triple P bottom line, what I am referring. P is for profit. We need to sustain on financial or economic terms. Second P is people. We need to concern about people because of pandemic, all other things, diseases, calamities, so many things are happening, all because of changes in different forms. So we need to concern about people, how people will be happy, how they can lead a dignified life. So second concern is about people. Third concern about planet, the mother nature. The other two, they can speak, they can tell, they can demand, but this is the only resource, or you can say the only thing which cannot speak. It's a mute one. So we need to listen through different activities which are going on in this natural scenario to inform that the mother nature is improved. So we are taking care in our university how to sustain and how to take care of the planet. So this conference will definitely talk about what are the measures we need to take care of? So many, I'm sure there are many speakers who will talk about the way ahead, how to go ahead, what are the solutions, what are the processes. Still, I think more need to be done. So let's spend our time in these 2 days to learn, to think how it can be sustainable, the whole business model can be sustainable. And one of the important aspects is agriculture. Yes, there are disruption, technology is getting disrupted, the process is getting disrupted. So in this world, we don't know tomorrow what will be, whether roads will be useful or not. Government is spending, we are spending so much of money on roads. Tomorrow maybe drone is the way to move from one place to another. Similarly, agriculture, maybe the fields are not some new, maybe rooftop gardening or something, garden on the air. I don't know. These are the disruptions which are coming to people's mind and they are experimenting, and I am sure science will come out with some solution. So there is enough scope for research. Why I am talking about this? There is enough scope. We need to think, we need to activate our inner thought into action, come out with new products, and come out with new solutions. I am very hopeful that in this 2 days seminar, definitely there will be speakers who will talk about the new way of thinking and new way of doing things. And that will also help others to think what else can be done. So with this, I thank all of you participating in this 2 days seminar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I would like to now give this time to Dr. S.P. Nanda, sir, the Dean of School of Agriculture here at Centurion University. Please welcome him with a round of applause.
Respected dignitaries, Honorable Vice Chancellor Ma'am, Head Samannati Foundation, Register Ma'am, Professor Anil Kumar, Associate Dean, Professor Umakant Naik, School of Management, dignitaries of the dais, our professors, colleagues, supporting staff, and students. Good morning and welcome to all of you to this international conference on sustainable initiatives in agriculture, business, and management. So today is a very great day for all of us that we are organizing this international conference about agriculture and allied sector. And in the other side, we have got a tribal lady from Odisha as the 15th president of India. And in this occasion, I would like to speak few words about the strength of our agriculture and allied sector and what we are doing at Centurion for the benefits of students as well as for the local community and farmers. School of Agriculture to BSc Agriculture started under Centurion University of Technology and Management in the year 2013. Then subsequently Agribusiness Management then fisheries, and in very next year, we are going to add veterinary science in Centurion University of Technology and Management. Already, School of Agriculture and its undergraduate and postgraduate program is accredited by Indian Council of Agriculture Research, and we are going to apply for fisheries and agribusiness management as well as agri-engineering for the accreditation of ICR very recently. And our strength in agriculture, definitely it's visible. Our students, faculty members are here. They can also speak loudly that definitely from 13 onwards till today, in 2022, in the last 9-10 years, what's the growth of agriculture and allied things at Centurion? What's our strength? What kind of things we have added slowly? See, this agriculture and allied is any university or college. Once we start this program, it's not for students curriculum. If you say it is OUAT or any agriculture university, government, either state government or central government, once they start, the vision is not for giving the curriculum to the students, it's for the research, it's for the benefits, how the communities, particularly farmers, they will get benefits from this university as well as from the curriculum. Similarly, at Centurion, our focus is for both, it's for students' academics, plus agricultural and allied research, plus what we are doing, how things will go to farmers for which they will be benefited. So our strength at School of Agriculture and Allied is our extension program. We have already trained 1 lakh farmers in the scheme of National Skill Development Council, and we have already adopted some of the villages for doing any sustainable things of agriculture to the farmers. Our team consists of students, faculty members. They are going to the different villages, working with farmers, and even if we are calling farmers to the Centurion for different training programs in agriculture, and now we have already planned to start with fishery farmers also at Paralachundi as well as in our Palestine campus. And for this purpose, we have collaborated with different organizations. Maybe it is government organizations, ICR institutes, or it is different NGOs. And all those things are monitored through different apps. If you say it is Kalbudia, and if you say it is Ippu Kisana, and different organizations related to agriculture are associated with us, not only agriculture organizations. Again, for engineering, technological organizations also associated with us. We are working for different units where students are gaining the hands-on practice, called as agricultural experiential learning program units. Our strength is our units, our hybrid seed production, our curriculum, our if you say it is different monitoring to us, smartness. We have already done polyhouses, how to operate through smart fisheries, smart agriculture, farmers' strength, farmers' benefits, community benefits. Those are the things what we have done for allied sector. In the same thing, I can say the students, they are going for different organizations for internship. If you say it is KBK, different ICR institutes, even if some Odisha and Andhra Pradesh government programs called as Krushi Udyog Sahayak Yojana. Even if I can say today our head Samunati Foundation is present, we are very fortunate and happy. And some of our students under different domains, maybe it is agriculture or agribusiness management domain, these students they went and completed their internship at Samunati. And we are working for skill program. We are working for our domain sector. Domain is, with industries. What industry requirement, accordingly we are developing our curriculum without disturbing other council curriculum. So here I would like to request our head Samunati also. So in future, if we will collaborate Centurion with Samunati, for which both agriculture, management, engineering, all students and faculty members will be benefited for their internship as well as research. So with this, I wish all the organizers, faculty members, students, congratulations to all of you for organizing such a grand international conference. Hope these 2 days, today and tomorrow, for all the speakers address, different lead speakers and our faculty members, they will present their talks. Both the days will be a grand success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. Now we would like to invite our chief guest, Shri Sridhar Ishwaran, sir, to address the gathering.
Sir, much to all of you. Well, I'd like to thank the university and Mr. Anil Kumar for coming there and speak to all of you. I have a detailed session today, but as everybody spoke on the tag, agriculture is one sector which is very, very important. So if you look at the way, even during the pandemic, and the entire nation was down. But people who are there in the metros, they were able to eat the 3-course meal, right? That's because only when the farmers were there on the ground, on the field, we were able to eat that food which we do, right? So a big round of applause to all the farmers who were there at that point in time. Again, this second is very, very important. As I said, even the pandemic and all the sectors were down. Right? The 2 sectors which were really did well was the healthcare and the agriculture. Right? All the other sectors they went down. Right? The tourism, travel, FMCG, consumer goods, they all were down. Only agriculture sector was 3%. That is an important risk sector as well, and especially India. And you all know India, 60% of the working population is in the agriculture sector. Agriculture contributes close to 19% to the GDP. So it's very important, right? So again, this two-day conference is going to be very good, and also that all the speakers, they are going to touch upon different topics which will be definitely of interest to all of you. I won't take much of your time. As I said, there is another 1 hour slot given to me where I will talk about our organization, Sammanati, and how we are connected to the agriculture sector and what products and services that we give. That will be definitely there for all of you to listen. So again, once again, it's a pleasure to be part of here, and good to see all the students, young students, attending and getting all the knowledge that we can gather today. Today and tomorrow, I think it's for you people. The conference has been organized to take advantage of this and see that you learn a lot of this. Thanks a lot.
So now I request Dr. Anita Bhadrav to come over here and felicitate Mr. Sridharan having come here. Madam, please be there. So now I request Mr. Ashit Mahapatra to come over the dais.
We will have a first guest speaker for today, Dr. Victoria Salin, a professor from Texas A&M University, USA, will be joining us today. Dr. Victoria Salin is a professor in the Department of Agricultural Economics, Texas, in AM University, and she's also the co-director of the Agribusiness, Food and Consumer Economics Research Center. She's the chair of the Intercollegiate Faculty of Agribusiness and the head of the Agribusiness program. Provides economic and financial analysis for the Scientific Advisory Council on the World Food Logistics Organization, an affiliate of the Global Cold Chain Alliance. She also serves on the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture Board, an affiliate of the Consultative Group on International Agricultural Research. In this capacity, she works with entrepreneurial ventures and other means to commemorate agricultural technologies to enhance African food security. In addition, she also is currently a World Coffee Research Board member, serving as the chair of the Research Advisory Committee and member of the Finance Committee. She will be presenting on the topic food supply chains in a circular economy, twisting, bending, breaking.
Good morning, everyone. Do you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Good, good. It's really a pleasure to be with you at Centurion University. I'm privileged to hear more about your university and the great success that it has. It's fantastic to learn about another university committed to improving the food, feed, and fiber sector. I'm going to pop open my slides. Okay, I think that should be showing you my title slide. I appreciate the kind introduction from the group and to hear the other talks this morning. I'm talking about my experience in the food, feed, and fiber sector, largely in North America, but in the past 5 years, 7 years in particular, I've gotten to work quite closely with people from the international research system aiming to improve productivity and commercialization of the crops that are very important for food security. I'm also working with some other sectors that are products that make consumers happy, but are not as important for food security, but they're part of the value that moves the whole food system forward. I mentioned the circular economy in my title because as an indicator of sustainability, to me, it has me thinking about a whole wider scope of vision about a food system. I have done research on agribusiness for about 27 years, and most of our work in that area has been trying to take economists who think about the market at a very high level, lots and lots of firms acting together. We're trying to, in agribusiness, bring out the management implications of very specific products, brands, strategies, and look at a very, very micro level. How does that change if we think about the aspect of the circular economy? Well, I have classified 3 different possibilities. We could have a food supply chain that's functioning well and simply needs to have a little twist. Think of that as your morning stretch. You're getting up, you're looking around. It's comfortable at first, then you stretch a little more, you twist a little more, and you might get out of your comfort zone, but that system can handle the addition of some sustainability goals and activities to achieve them. Other supply chains that I'm going to talk about today are more in a bending mode, which I perceive of as having long-term stress. It's going to take something significant to keep that supply chain functional into the future in some durable way. And then the third part of my title is breaking, and I put breaking with a big question mark. The media in the United States has been, since the COVID pandemic, talking about nothing more than broken supply chains. Every time a price goes up or a shelf is temporarily empty, they say broken supply chains. I'm not that pessimistic about our food supply chains. I think they're more resilient, but there are some that maybe are at risk. And then it's going to take the entrepreneurs and the managers to recognize that that's a dead end business and you have to make a change. So by the concept of a supply chain, meaning very, very narrowly defined, and some of the lessons from that supply chain may not be generalizable across all food, feed, and fiber product lines, but they might be something to think about. Okay, I want to thank the people who are responsible for inviting me to this talk and this conference, Professor Anil Kumar, Dr. Lakshmi Kakani, who I had the privilege to get to know when she was a student with us at Texas A&M University. And many of my remarks are influenced by what I learned from colleagues in the International Food and Agribusiness Management Association. You can find that association at ifama.org. Students can join IFAMA for free. So many of you in the room might be interested in joining it and becoming active in the young board and the youth movement of IFAMA. We'd really like to have you. IFAMA is about a 35-year-old organization, and it likes to bring together academics as well as industry practitioners to move the food system ahead with efficiency from a management point of view. I was trained some time ago as an economist, and so I just want to touch on some of the economic principles that might solve our problems of sustainability. Can we expect environmental benefits to occur from the natural ordering of the free market? Is there an invisible hand that's going to influence adoption of systems that improve sustainability? Well, naturally, and I've seen this in my career, especially with refrigerated warehousing, when an input is priced in accordance with its value, and that price goes up because the resource is scarce, then naturally a business buyer is going to be inclined to conserve. And especially electric power has undergone a great deal of technological innovation to create conservation. We might be on the cusp of that same conservation of transportation fuels as we get to more electric vehicles. And so sometimes cost savings motivations will also align well with environmental benefits. More recently, in the corporate sector, the idea is that consumers will be so delighted by a company providing a product with an environmental message, aligning values of consumers with the company's economic, environmental, what does ESG stand for? Environmental, what's the S? And governance. Oh, environmental, social, and governance. Those practices within a company can be associated to the product that's sold, and then consumers will be willing to pay a price markup to cover the expenses of providing those amenities, and maybe even a little bit additional benefit. Question is, economics is all about looking at transactions at a point in time, especially if we can quantify them. We have a hard time addressing with purely economic theory whether sustainability advantages are durable. In fact, when I was seeing new research at the IFAMA conference in Costa Rica 2 weeks ago, every time someone mentioned corporate commitment to sustainable practices, the immediate response, especially from the young people, was, what about greenwashing? Aren't companies giving us a message about environmental practices that have not been met in reality? So when the trust is not there between producers and the consumers about the actual environmental practice, then it's hard to expect demand to be consistently enhanced in a way that will provide profitable advantages over time. Now, I think the theme of this conference and the research agenda that revolves around it is extremely important. Look at Mr. Berners-Lee book published in 2019, very popular in North America. There is no Planet B. Certainly, companies have to do something different because they are responsible for much of the resource allocation on behalf of what consumers want to have. We have to have some food. Do we have to have that food packaged in the way it is today, delivered and distributed in the way it is today? Should we do something different in order to save our one planet? Going back to my title, how do food supply chains function in a new circular economy paradigm? I'm giving you a couple of sketches which I took out of social media that emphasize the fact that certain supply chains are not very well oriented toward waste reduction. The term used in the social media lately is a linear economy. Now, of course, I'm thinking more about one particular value chain for a type of food product. I'm going to give you 3 examples of supply chains in the course of my talk. So linear economy is not quite right. That's too broad of a term, in my opinion. But the point is, some of our production practices and transactions, purchasing patterns, have not paid attention to waste reduction. The waste can be put off on another party, or it can be put off on society at large, simply by dumping waste. The recycling attribute that's mentioned in the middle part of this panel, of course, many companies have done recycling for a very long time, and there are within reach many mechanisms to recycle certain of our packaging products, but not all of them. I was happy to hear about the zero plastic on your campus, solving a big problem if we just shut off our demand for things that are not recyclable. Now, the circular economy I find very intriguing. The way that diagram shows lots of looping and rotation, it could mean smooth, coordinated activity, or it could mean activity that require managers to jump outside of their comfort zone, to embark into ventures that they have no experience, expertise, or focus, and we could have some problems. But these paradigms are all about where we get our products, how are they made, and can we use things effectively and without waste? Here's a few issues that I think tend to keep the food supply chains and many food companies squarely stuck in a linear economy approach. There's some waste and inefficiency in our food production systems, especially the way they are now, that are difficult to change. First, it's just a fact of our production and consumption systems that some supply chains are global in their scope, and at the same time, they're at very high risk for disruption. When a supply chain is at high risk for disruption, and the products in that supply chain are necessary for people's survival, naturally, there will be all kinds of safety stocks built in. There'll be stockpiling, there'll be duplication, there'll be extra activity planned, and sometimes those products just expire worthless before their time because they served a function of preserving safety. A second feature that tends to keep sustainability, that tends to be a barrier to sustainability in the food system is the wide extent of product differentiation. Different brands, different flavors, different food products that different cultures prefer, in order to match all those fragmented food products with the people who are in the different segments that demand it, some of them all over the world, there is extensive global distribution. And that distribution system has a natural scale economy that some resources can go wasted if they're not used to full capacity all around the year. The third feature of the food economy that I think is important to the sustainability potential, and sometimes reasons we cannot achieve it, is the unique biological component of food production. It starts at the farm. It's also a characteristic of the different processing and even storage and final consumption. Now, corresponding to that biological component, because of the needs for food security, researchers have tackled research and technology about food productivity for a long time, usually through government ministries, through international collaboration. And so there is a lot of precedent for research to achieve leaps forward. And if that gets deployed for sustainability purposes, I think that gives us some potential. So to fix my ideas and talk to you about some of my recent experience in research, I'm going to be explaining a few cases where some of these features, global, differentiated products, international distribution, biological routes, I'm going to talk about them for a couple of specific product types. One being insects used for feed, second being coffee. This picture is taken from a consulting firm in the United Kingdom. It's also looking at a circular economy, but I liked it because it divided the possible beneficial loops in making the food system more sustainable into potentially being achieved through technology. And by that, I'm thinking of packaging primarily, and separating that from the living systems or the biological materials where some loop, some circularity can be added because of biology. And it made me think of my recent research with my recent project idea, not yet fully into a research mode, still in a proposal mode, about insects for feed. You know, in North America, there's a substantial amount of animal protein production. Poultry in particular is the most affordable meat, has good quality attributes for demand, distributed around the country. And right now, a great deal of the feed for poultry is grain that is produced on our increasingly scarce land. So an idea for the circular economy that's been implemented, funded by venture capital, is entomophagy or insects produced to go into our food system. This is primarily a black soldier fly product, and either the protein powder that comes from these soldier flies comes from, I believe, the larva. Even with a short lifespan of these black soldier fly larvae, they have a life cycle and they produce waste. The circularity of a black soldier fly larva production process for animal feed is that the larvae themselves are fed on food waste from the urban area. So the input to them is what had been waste in another production system. However, those larvae themselves produce a bit of waste. When you're at full scale, it's a large amount. It was an unexpected outcome of a system that in the drawing board and in the pilot phase was considered really circular and highly sustainable. Into full-scale operation, the operators began to question, where am I going to store all of this insect waste, which they call frass? It could be composted, sure, but composting takes space and a little bit of energy. Then the entrepreneurs took a little twist and they said, could we turn the waste into a product that can be sold? And that's the research we're on now, devising a marketing a business operational plan for the reuse in another segment of the food, of the insects byproduct. It could be a soil amendment, something that households to improve their garden would use. It could also be, if its components prove to be regularly consistent, then it could be sold for fertilizer. This research is interesting to me in a couple of ways. It's an entirely different product and product line. Its use might be outside of agriculture, if it's going to be house and garden use. And what is also very interesting to me is that the investors in the research are private sector. The companies are paying for this under the umbrella of a US National Science Foundation project. This is quite similar to the approach to sustainability investments in Europe. They call it a triple helix in Europe, meaning government, university, and private sector are all collaborating on the research, rather than have it be purely a public good research. So that insect project is something that I find it has a sustainability hook potential. The problem to resolve that exciting challenge is really still in the development. It's operational, but it might contribute to a whole nother loop being added to a system which we thought was already part of the circular economy. Here's another example that has, I think, this biological component that makes food systems and food supply chains so interesting. I'm talking here about coffee. The coffee supply chain, as I see it today, it's vast, it's highly profitable, but I consider it one of the supply chains that's really bent in a way. Why is coffee really so challenged from the point of view of sustainability? Well, by its nature, it's only grown in the tropical regions of the world. So in order for the consumers who are in all parts of the world, but especially in North America and Europe, in order for them to get the product, it has to come and travel on a global supply chain. This has been done, of course, for many hundreds of years, but it's still a the transportation links are so vast that there's a lot of sustainability challenges for coffee by nature. The other sustainability threat to coffee comes about from its natural genetic variation. It's not very wide compared to other crops that have been studied and bred for many more centuries. So genetic variation in coffee is rather low. That means as climate change progresses, coffee that grows well in a certain altitude and a certain temperature range will be increasingly challenged by drought that it didn't face before, or warmer temperatures than it had before. And there isn't the knowledge of how to breed coffee to withstand those changes because the genetic variation is rather low. And most important in Central America is that there's been advancing of a plant disease called rust that since 2012 has really pushed coffee supplies almost to the brink, so that some of the industry who are at the level of the importer and roaster, those companies are really worried that they won't be able to find coffee 25 years from now. So that supply chain, I characterize it as really bending. And what could solve it? It's going to have to be research. Here's a picture of preliminary early research that's been done by World Coffee Research. That's an organization comprised of private industry, the roasting companies. On the right, you see a plant that's healthy. On the left, you see a plant that is really struggling from the rust disease. This is in a planting that's done with a trial. And obviously, the variety that resists rust is one that ought to be selected and considered and combined with varieties that have traits about good taste, about good yield, and about maybe also needing less fertilizer. So the research that's underway in World Coffee research relates to continuing productivity against diseases and against possible drought in the future. The research that needs to be done involves the highest level of science with genetic fingerprinting, other genomic identifiers, so that the characteristics can be found easily. When it comes to coffee, there's two important classes of plants. There's Arabica coffee and there's Robusta. The Arabica research program of World Coffee Research has about 15 years of history behind it. They're just now starting breeding for Robusta. And why is Robusta promising? Although it's a more rare variety, it is showing resistance to disease that's very helpful. These countries colored in the light green, including India, that's where Robusta is produced. And so this is an opportune location for coffee varieties that are native to these countries to be used in the research program of World Coffee Research. The next step in participating has to do with institutional agreements. And then once that research bears fruit, it will be decided which companies get to utilize it and put it into their seed systems. So that's two examples of research that's entirely private industry funded. There's some collaboration between them, which is important, but it's also going to be an interesting question when the research results come in. How can one company benefit relative to its rivals, or will they still be collaborative at that research level? So now for my last couple of minutes, I want to turn my attention away from biology and talk about really what's complex in supply chains, and that's on the organizational arrangements. This diagram from Global Green or whatever it was, they put as a foundation to everything, converting from a linear economy that pays little attention to waste reduction into a circular idea where there are loops put in to reuse and recycle and orient design around sustainability. They think business support is the basis. And what is a business? It's a collection of people. They have a motivation to provide services that people will pay for, but it's really a collection of people. So that means our research issues come from management science and management theory. As you learned in the introduction, I'm much more of a finance specialist than a management theoretician, but there are a few concepts from management, excuse me, from the management literature that come to mind when I think about the challenges of making our food supply chains more circular. The first one comes from transactions cost reasoning. Transactions cost indicate that for every search for a supplier or a buyer, an organization faces difficulty. It's nice to have your contracts arranged long in advance, and those contracts still remain covering enough scope so that no one is confused and needs to continue to search for partners and renegotiate. As products change hands in these loops that go outside our normal range of business, we might even cross industry boundaries. We might have a waste product that can be sold to somebody else, but the transactions cost of finding that additional person, it's really tempting for the organization to say, no, I'll focus. This transaction cost is just too daunting and it stops me from even making the business. Now, there are consulting firms, and for those of you in business or in the academy, consulting work to help connect and to help reduce the cognitive problems of venturing into new space, that might be a good career. I put this here because I wanted to remind myself about talking how the circular economy might make us go out of our focus area and we might run right into difficulties. crossing the boundaries into industry. This other diagram of a circular economy, which I also grabbed from social media, it shows, new activities of repair and replacement and recycling that might not be part of the industry of the existing management skill set. So having to do something new, there's always a potential that there might be transactions cost problems. The second issue for management theory that comes to mind is the resource-based view of the firm. From Penrose, we imagine an organization that exists because of the resources that it commands, and those resources might be knowledge resources. They might also be physical assets. I work with the refrigerated warehouse industry in North America. These are companies that are part of the third-party logistics system. They are specialized in the storage and shipping functions, and they serve a variety of customers. They don't take ownership of the product. And over the pandemic, I witnessed an issue which made me question whether there might be too much focus or over specialization of the assets in that distribution network. There came an opportunity, we thought, as we were ramping up vaccines, and the vaccines were needing really cold temperatures to remain useful. People were approaching managers in the food industry and asking, do you have enough warehouse capacity to start taking on business in pharmaceutical, especially the vaccines for COVID-19? The managers thought about it. There was some technical limitation to keep the temperature at the proper amount, a proper level for vaccine, but it was much more of a comfort level that caused those managers to say, no, we'll just stay in our lane with food. They thought their firm was only as broad as its existing use, whereas the resource-based view of the firm would encourage someone to say, those resources can be deployed for other uses, especially if they're profitable. When it comes to other sustainability practices, especially those that involve recycling and transportation, products that used to be thought of as waste might need to be held for a while, shipped to some other party who can do the recycling, and to mix products that have high food safety standards with activities that involve products that can be considered either recycled or maybe waste, potentially at risk of contamination. We might have a problem there of mismatched standards. And finally, when we think of distribution, it always has an environmental impact, even if it's conducted on an outsourced basis. And for a company to find out and really explore the environmental impact of its distribution partners, it's a really big job. Increasingly, regulators are wanting that information to be disclosed, and we will see more effort into measurement of sustainability, and that will affect distribution companies in particular. The third area of management study that I listed there has to do with entrepreneurship. I notice on the panels for the rest of today and tomorrow, you are going to be hearing from entrepreneurial experts. As I see the entrepreneurs, their role in the system is to specialize in risk-taking. They can recognize opportunities and pursue them diligently. An entrepreneur also, along with their consultants and advisors, might need to recognize the need to pivot. And as I see entrepreneurship, it's the set of people, it's going to create the set of people who we're going to trust our food system resources with off into the future. And I submit that the resources that create our food system are really priceless. It's the land and the oceans that provide most of our food. When it comes to food being produced in all climates of the world, we need to have people who can care for the irrigation water. And those people also need to be trained in institutions like Centurion or like Texas A&M, that pay attention to food security. And it's going to create people who have a commitment not only to food security, but also to science, which can provide some solutions from the research side, and then have the management skill to see those research results implemented into practice. So you training the entrepreneurs are on target to inherit our resources, and I'm happy that you're going to be entrusted with them into the future. So that concludes my comments. There's how you can contact me. This year in our Master of Agribusiness program, we're preparing to celebrate our 25th anniversary. And at the same time, the department that founded our Master of Agribusiness program, it's turning 100 years old this year. So many celebrations for us in Texas, and hopefully you'll be able to stay connected with us virtually. Thank you much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Salim, for sharing your thoughts on supply chain. Your words about the circular economy just highlight the central theme of the conference, that is sustainability. Thank you for joining and giving us your time. Our next speaker is our guest, chief guest, Mr. Sridhar Ishwaran. Sridhar Ishwaran, sir, head of Unnati Foundation. Sir has more than 37 plus years of experience in the banking industry, managing operations, projects and risk management. Prior to joining the Samannati, he worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers in the HDFC Bank. Currently, he heads the Samannati Foundation and manages the key partnerships and leads distribution and capacity building for NGOs aligned to AMS approach, which is aggregation, market linkages, and advisory services. The capacity development team focuses on market linkages, access to finance, technology, and advisory aspects. Sir will be presenting on the topic NGO management, access to finance.
We will be starting the technical session in a few minutes. Please be patient with us. Thank you.
on करना
Sharing this. Slide one second. Yes. पीछे जाना first slide. Namaskar again. I know it's raining outside, the weather is very good. I need to have a cup of chai, coffee, and what else. But especially it's kept for all the students. Request all the students who are outside if they are able to come and join us with us. Yeah. In the next 30 minutes, we will be talking about Samunati. So Samunati is a Sanskrit word, Sam and Unnati, meaning collective growth, collective prosperity, collective elevation. We are a non-bank finance company and we give agricultural loans. Yeah. Our specialization is we only work in the agriculture sector, meaning all our loans and services, whatever we give, has to be aligned to agriculture and allied activities. For doing this, Samunati has got three main pillars. Pillar number one is the agri-finance business, because everybody wants loan. So we being an non-bank finance company, finance is an important type of finance. And we give loans to smallholder farmers and go up the value chain. Because it is agriculture, we are into commodities. We also have agri-commerce business, where we are able to do trading of commodities and we are able to do marketing things. The third is definitely the technology, technology and innovation. So along with many of the tech companies whom we collaborate, Samunati in-house also have developed some few digitalization tools that will take care of the The mission of Samunati is to make markets work for smallholder farmers. As you know, in India, 85% of the farmers are smallholder farmers with less than 2 acres of land. And they are vulnerable. They are dependent on the informal sources, they are different from shopkeepers, and they are always a tail. So some of these mission is to make the market work for all. So as I mentioned, we work on the entire value chain. So if you look at the value chain, on the demand side of the business, we have got all the traders, aggregators of commodities. We have the MSMEs, we have the processing unit. As we move up the ladder, there is institutional buyers of commodities. They all need commodities at any given point of time. To support the demand side of the business, the community also works on the supply side, where we connect with farmers, farmer collectives, cooperatives, farmer producer organizations, input manufacturers. So if you look at our product solutions is for the entire value chain. Right? It is again understanding the value chain, the actors involved in the value chain, and also the different characteristics of the value chain. Upon the thing it will give the solution. So if you see the smaller farmers, what are the challenges that they face? Definitely on the climate side. If there is a flood, drought, again the farmer is affected. And there are always, you have seen news, there is a crop failure. That's the only source of income for the smaller farmer. If there is a crop failure happens, there is a loss for him. Right? And because of the conventional way of what he has been doing in the past, always the yield is on the lesser side. Whereas with the new practical practices, the new technology, you can always go and increase the yield, but that's not his happening over here. He's always at the mercy of what is happening, and he has been doing agriculture what he has been taught and resulting into. And being a smallholder farmer of less than 1 acre of land, he has not got any bargaining power. If he goes to a shopkeeper, he is going to buy commodity only for 1 acre of land. He is not going to get any bargaining power, and he is going to buy at whatever price the shopkeeper will tell. You cannot bargain. That is one thing which is resulting in his cost of cultivation is always on the higher side, and also at the time of selling the procurement, he doesn't get a better price. Right? Very important for anyone to do a activity, they need finance. Because a smallholder farmer, he doesn't have anything to go and talk to the backup. He's always dependent on the informal sources, money lenders, where he borrows at a higher cost, and he gets treated. Right? And the most important point, the 1 acre or the 2 acre what he is holding, that's the only source of income. So you will not be able to do any pilot. You cannot go and tell him, adopt a new practice, change the crop pattern. Because what happens if there is a loss? The reason the risk taking ability of the farmer is always less. The entire slide is talking about the challenges faced by the smallholder farmer. So, what is the solution? So, you all know the Amul model, right? The milk. So, if all the farmers they come as a collective, definitely the value. So, we have the farmer producer organization, the cooperatives. Why agriculture ministry came out with this concept? Because if a farmer at the individual level and he is doing all agricultural activities, he is always at a loss. There are always challenges associated. Farmer producer organizations were formed, wherein all those smallholder farmers in a particular block, they all can come forward, join the FPO as a member, and they get all the. Let me give you an example. For example, in Andhra, if paddy is one of the main crops, and if you see, almost all the farmers will be growing paddy only. Because why? The climatic conditions and the soil fertile is for paddy. All of them require the same type of input. So if one farmer is going and buying a 10 kg of seeds or whatever the input that he wants, but everything is aggregated, and if it is aggregated say for 300 farmers, there is a bargain. So you go and take away connect to a input supplier and tell them I will buy 1,000 bags of this particular input. So the moment 1,000 bags, automatically you get a good discount, and that discount what you get, you pass it on to the farmer also. So in an aggregation model, there is always a bargaining power, resulting in a farmer is benefiting through the farmer producer organization where he is a member, his cost of cultivation comes down, and number two, the quality is assured. Because it is bought by the farmer producer organization and it gets fixed. So some of the advantages of being part of the collective is package of practices. A lot of technologies are available. Is an individual farmer able to get the technology? But he is part of a collective, he is part of a cooperative. Definitely the NGO or the cooperative can connect with the ecosystem player, can connect with the technology player, and bring the technology to the smaller farmers, and he gets the benefit. Yeah. And very important is the cost of cultivation and increase in the income, right? Assuming he is getting only 100 rupees, with collectivization, there is also a member, definitely his income can increase by minimum 10 to 15%. That is the economics of scale that will begin to the agreement. And very important is the professional management. If they are part of a institution and the institution is managed professionally, because there is a farmer producer organization, there is a cooperative. In these two organizations, there are players who are actually running the business. So they understand how to manage it, how to run the operations, what benefits I can go and bring it to the farmers, how do I negotiate with the institutional buyer who is going to buy the commodities, right? All those professional services which they bring in definitely add value to the smaller farmers. Moving on. At Samurati, we have the value chain approach because we understand very clearly if we go and do a traditional way of giving loan, it will not work in the agriculture sector. So Samurati has got a value chain approach wherein we understand first the entire value chain. For example, like paddy, what I just mentioned 2 minutes back. For paddy, you will understand in terms of right from sowing till harvest, how the value chain is in terms of the services and the yield requirement of the state. So at a farmer level, at a cooperative level, at a trader level, right up to the processing, the institutional buyers, we will understand the entire value chain in terms of what are the requirements, what are the challenges that they face, how can we customize the solution. So that is the step what someone takes. If paddy is a 90-day crop, we can't give the same product to a sugarcane, which is a 1-year crop. So Samurati understands the value chain and accordingly we give solutions and customers. We leverage the buyer seller relationship because if there are 8 million farmers, can we go and talk to them individually? So we always connect with traders, we always connect with the cooperatives, we always work with the farmers. Because there is always a buyer-seller relationship which is closely attached, right? Because we don't know the farmer, we don't know farmer what activity has been doing in the last 10 years. But every farmer is always connected to a aggregator or some local level, village level entrepreneur with whom he does the buying selling relationship. So we always connect with them and we provide all the solutions. Okay, because we cannot go and straight away talk to so many farmers. With connect to a farmer cooperative, with connect to a farmer producer organization, with a connection to a say a milk aggregator. One aggregator will be connected with say 40 farmers. So we work with an aggregator so that we can easily touch 40 farmers. That is our yeah. And very important is we don't only focus on the financial, we also look at the non-financial. What do you mean by non-financial services? We support them as advisory, we bring in the latest technology. That is the strength someone will think on the table, then we engage with the smaller farmers. Now, this is the approach I already spoke. A typical bank will go with a lending approach where they will ask for collateral, they will just give a product, and they will only focus on their risk management and all. Whereas community will always look at a value chain approach. We understand what are the challenges to the value chain. We also understand what are the requirements for each value chain actor, and accordingly we customize the solution. And we also take care of some of the advisory services, and we have an engagement which is throughout the crop cycle, so that we have clear visibility on the farmer, the in terms of what are they doing. It is not that we just give a loan and forget it, but we continuously engage with them. That's what has been the outcome. As I mentioned, you would have known by now, our model is B2B2C, where we work with the middle B. A middle B can be a farmer producer organization, a cooperative society, or an agri. Through the middle B, we connect the C, which is the smaller the farmers. So this has been our model, and we strongly leverage the social capital and trade capital. I will give a small example. If there is a, you all are in a village, you know everybody has got cattle, and all the cattle gives milk. And there is one milk aggregator who is connected to a dairy, right? What is the role of a milk aggregator? He will go and collect all the milk in those 3 to 4 villages where he has got connected to 30 to 40 farmers. And this milk aggregator will go up the value chain and give the milk to a chilling plant or to a dairy. So if you look at from a transaction level, this particular aggregator already has got connected to 40 farmers. So we can work with the aggregator. Aggregator can tell us out of these 40 farmers, there are 15 farmers who are always there with me for the last 10 years. So Samanati will be able to establish that social capital and provide some loans that is needed for the farmers, either a cattle loan or some other loan, which will be guaranteed by the aggregator. And the trade capital helps us how much loan to give. Some farmer may have 2 cattle, some may have only 1 cattle, other may have 4 cattle. So the transaction what the farmer would have done is anywhere between 5 liter to 8 liter. So we will also know the social capital is established and also the trade capital, how much loan can be given. It is like, we all are here, it's a technology world. Many of you are already connected to a social media, Facebook or a LinkedIn, right? People may have 500 connections, right? But you know, out of your 500 connections, how many of them are active? Who will post regular messages, who will upload a picture, keep updated, right? So you can claim, I have 500 connections, it is a social. But when it comes to transaction, you can always say, out of these 500, there are 30 friends of mine who are regular in LinkedIn and Facebook. That is what is the social capital and trade capital. And that is very, very important for someone also. Then only we will be able to roll out the solution. This is a very important slide which you all have to. As I said, the farmer at the individual level, he wants a loan, he has to go and talk to a banker. He doesn't know what documents to be submitted. There are a lot of questions which the banker will ask. A farmer has to go and answer all, right? Similarly, for some of the other needs, he has to go to a shopkeeper to buy the input. Then he has to travel, say, some other 15 kilometers for some of the other produce at harvest he has to sell, right? So what somebody believes, we bring farmer at the center, and farmer is always connected to a FPO or a village level officer, and to bring all the services. So we have done a digital wrapper around it, a digital connector, so that if you want input, we have connected him to the input suppliers, farm organization. Similarly, on the output side, we have enabled the marketplace for him so that he is able to sell. And for the advisory services also, if there are a good advisory services, let us connect with this farmer producer organization and give all the services to the farmer. So that way, farmer at the center, giving him all the services is important. Again, very important. We work with almost 2,000 plus farmer producer organization, and we give them working capital. The working capital takes care of all the input activity and also the output activity. Let me give an example. A farmer has got the harvest. What he does, the moment harvest happens, he has to sell, but he wants money immediately. So by the time he goes and sells, and the entire transaction happens, might be it takes 10 to 15 days. He doesn't wait for that much of time, and he ends up selling it to the local market at a cheaper price. So someone provides that working capital so that the farmers are paid immediately so that they get the value of the produce what they have grown. So that's where the working capital what Samruddhi provides is. Second is strategic infrastructure, which is nothing else but we provide a lot of these warehouse solutions, storage issues, go down. Now, for example, Andhra, some of the beds will be the horticulture. Now, horticulture, fruits and vegetables, we all know it is perishable. So, Samruddhi will facilitate those institutions to set up cold storages, right? So, we also give infrastructure loans to others. Then, as I said, we also give market connect. If you remember the value chain, since Samruddhi is supporting on the demand side of the business, where we work with many of the traders, aggregators, processors, Samruddhi will help the farmer collectives to connect with those markets so that they are able to sell it and they get a better price. So we have a framework called RAMNA, aggregation, market linkage, and advisory. Aggregation, we all spoke, you aggregate to get a bargaining power so that you are able to get a better price realization. For doing the aggregation, you need working capital. So Samruddhi gives loan for the land. Market linkage, I told you, we are able to connect the market. Just to give a small example, if you say Orissa and Bihar, they are the main maize producing state. And who are the people who use maize? The poultry companies, right? So where are the poultry companies? They are in down south or down west. So Samruddhi is able to do the market linkage where the farmer collectives from maize, we are able to connect them from Bihar, Orissa to where? Mumbai or Tamil Nadu. That is the step that we bring on the market. Final advisory, right? There are a lot of technologies available. You have heard about many of the technologies. Many of the latest practical practices are there. We are talking of climate smart agriculture. We are talking of food safety, food security. So how do we go to the farmer? So Samruddhi connect with all those companies who are part of this, and we are able to provide the advisory services to the farmer collectives through this. We have three important ways. We first do the assessment, then we engage, then we look at the achievement. What this slide talks about is, it is not that we are just given a loan. First, we do the entire assessment. After doing the assessment, we understand how do we engage. What is an engagement? We need to know, understand what are the challenges, what are the requirements, and accordingly to work with them. Finally, after giving the solution, every solution what you give, it helps as a result, right? That is what is the achievement. We have to look at the entire impact what has been done. Just to give an example, if when we started a transaction, if the total turnover of the business is, let's say 20 lakhs, after 1 year, Samruddhi's intervention, as the business increased from 20 lakhs to 50 lakhs, the farmer whose income was 20,000 has it increased to 30,000. Right? Today he was only selling to one buyer. Have we introduced our solutions and connected it to 4 more buyers? So we first do the assessment, then we look at how to engage with them. Finally, we look at the result. The important critique, we all are students, we also know about this, right? First and foremost, by engaging, how do you ensure the cost of cultivation of the farmer comes down? That is the main assessment metric that we have. Second is the productivity drivers. Today, for example, in 1 acre, he has got, say, 500 metric tons. With our intervention, with the practical practices, whether from 500 to, he has moved to 600 metric tons. Right? That is more productivity that he has got, the income goes up. Finally, it is all possible only if there is an engagement which is very good. Right? If there is a cooperative, if there is a collective which has got 500 members and only 100 members are active, how do we engage balance 400 also, whereas the entire collective goes and they are able to get better income. These are all the important drivers which someone has been. We have an internal grading and assessment tool. Based on that, we start the engagement. Very important is the technology. Now, wherever you go now, today you all have got rest of the mobile smartphones, The moment you get to a shop, you just have to do the pay card and your Paytm, the Google Pay, you are able to do the transaction. So at the agriculture level, though at the financial transaction, have been enabled, farmers are able to get all the advantages. But what community has also developed is some of the best technology platforms so that the farmer is always connected, right? Just to give an example, if you see, in morning we all assembled in this auditorium, it was sunny. In another 1 hour, it started raining, right? So what community does, if you see the last weather alert, community proactively give weather alerts to the smallholder farmers for the next 7 days. Is it going to rain? Is it going to be sunny? So that the farmer is able to take some precautions, right? If the harvest is going to happen and the weather says it is going to be raining in the next 3 days, the farmer can take some action, right? So how we all as a individual, we are getting so much of digital services. Community has also enabled many of these services. We have also enabled a facility called robocall, right? In your mobile phone, you get so many calls, right? Marketing calls, whether you want loan, whether you want credit card. So we have also enabled many of the robocalls where at one information, somebody can just type, I am going to buy paddy at 100 rupees. So it reaches all the farmers. So farmer can take a decision, okay, my collective is going to buy at 100 rupees, let me go and sell. Tomorrow, if they wanted to connect with all the farmers and say, let us have a meeting, we are convening a annual general meeting. So the person who is the president can only type on 30th of August, we are going to have meeting in Centurion University Auditorium. All of you are requested to come. With one press of a button, it will go in the form of an SMS, it can go in the form of a call. If the NPO has got a WhatsApp group, it will go as a WhatsApp. That is the technology that we have created because we believe the smallholder farmer should always get connected what is happening in and around him. But for example, he wants to know what is the price of a commodity. So every day we send the prices. Paddy price today is this. And how do we get the price? We take the information from the local mandi and the trader. This is the market price, right? So that's what. Finally, as I said, our job is only not giving financial services. We do not financial services also. We get into leadership development. We do a lot of training programs for many of the CEO FPOs so that they are able to manage their operations well. We also help them in how to prepare a business plan, how to get into the financial management. Like Centurion University, we have a lot of students. There are regular lectures happening to you, so you understand all those things. But do you believe a farmer or the FPO will know this? But we do this for the farmers also by going to them and explaining them in the local language what is the importance of financial management, what is the leadership, all the how do you have marketing. So these are some of the non-financial services the community does to the farming community. These are some of the case studies I just wanted to tell you. This is one FPO in Madhya Pradesh which has got 3,000 farmers. But they were only doing a turnover which was only 1 crore because they were not having capital to scale. So some of the work with the FPO and we were able to give them a 25 lakh working capital. So as of date, the FPO is able to do 8 crore worth of business and we are able to give the loan of only 75 lakh. So that is the power that we brought to this FPO. This is another FPO in Karnataka. They are into horticulture, right? They have good membership pay, but they were not able to scale because the working capital was not there. So somebody gave them working capital, and after the working capital, the FPO was able to do good. So this is what it is before and after now they have to. So I will just end my session by telling you all. Community not only looks at only as banking as a services, we also help many of the communities to engage with us. We collaborate with all the partners who are there in the agriculture sector, like Centurion University, we also collaborate with some of the other two universities like NAM, IRMA, right? We have collaboration with them. We also connect with their students and see how they also come and do some of the internship with us, right? And someone understanding the challenges in the agriculture sector. And we have also seen many of the students migrate from rural to the metros. We encourage and come up with a lot of entrepreneurship programs. We do a lot of programs on students on the FPO. Might be a 1 year training program. After the training program is completed, you can become your own entrepreneur in a village and you get connected to say 100 to 150 farmers because they need all the services which you as an entrepreneur can give. Right? That way you are closer with your family, you are able to take care of your farm. At the same time, you are able to connect with your community, right? And service the better and get a decent income. So that is what Samanandi. I once again thanks Centurion University and Professor Anil for giving us an opportunity to come here and speak in front of all of you. I'm sure you are able to get some sort of a understanding in terms of what Samanandi does. I wish all the students a very best and thanks a lot.
Aggregation is truly a sustainable solution to Indian agriculture, and the work Samanati is doing to value chain based approach for the small farmers is truly commendable. The next guest speaker we have with us, Lieutenant Colonel Ashit Mahapatra. Since we have a lot of agri students with us today, we would like to give a couple of minutes if you guys have any questions to ask Sridhar Aishwaran sir, since he's here with us today.
Thank you for such a nice speech.
So I have asked one. I genuinely feel like that like we have heard that sustainability and all. So what are the career opportunities for us? Like how will we proceeding for the career opportunities?
Very good question. Agriculture is one sector which is going to be, especially for engineers. There are a lot of opportunities to see in India. Since we work in this sector and we connected with all the ecosystem players. In our time and the way the entire data, 2000 plus agri startups. The opportunity what we are talking about is take the example of soil testing. Right? Soil testing is an important step. It used to take, the farmer has to go to the land. After 4 days, he used to get the report. And it was only a report, there was no bit of practices or acquisition. Now there are tech companies which do soil testing, and the report is given to the 4 of us. And not only the report contains what needs to be done, and it comes with an advisory services what you need to do, take care of. Right? Pest attack is a common thing in agriculture. Now, what pest attack farmer is to do? He will go to the local shopkeeper and tell him there is a pest attack. The local shopkeeper will take out some pesticide or whatever it is, and he will say spray 100 ml, whatever it is. How much, where, what is the area? Now the technology is such developed, you just have to take a smartphone, click that particular area where the pest attack has happened, and there is a backend call center to get acquisition, which was never there in the past, right? So now some of the technology innovation which is happening, scope is huge. Lots are happening. We connect with weather stations, right? There are weather stations we connect with the company called Pacific. They give you precision agriculture. For example, a farmer is not able to take care of their land, right? And water is important. There are technologies available which will automatically tell if the residue of the water level is increasing, it will get an alert. So you can go and stop the pump. Similarly, if the water level goes down, it has to get irrigated. He gets the alert. All this is because of the technology, right? The scope is huge. Who has looked at drones, right? Now today we all go to marriage functions and we see the drone, right? But the drones are used in the healthcare and also in agriculture. Healthcare and the COVID stuff, how do you take care of the medicines from one to the other, right? So all the governments, the state governments, they use the drone services. Now the drones, we are extensively using it in agriculture. Used to manual spraying. That's what you have heard about manual spraying really has got health results, right? And we are able to do it from 2 acres to 3 acres. It will take 1 full day. A drone does the work only in 15 minutes. Your entire area is right? That way, good question. What innovation is happening, and there is enough scope for all students to be part of this.
Any other questions?
Thank you, sir, for taking the time. I'd like to continue to our next guest speaker, Lieutenant Colonel Ashit Mahapatra is here with us. He's a mechanical engineer who served our country for 20 years in the Indian Army in various locations around the country, including highly challenging areas of Jammu Kashmir, Arunachal Pradesh, and the international borders along Pakistan and China. He handled many important tasks in the domains of supply chain, operational roles, instructional jobs, and many more during his tenure in the Indian Army. He was picked up from the campus of IIM Ahmedabad by IFMR as the founding CEO of its Greenfield Rural Finance arm, KTR Gramin Financial Service, known as KGFS. Ashit sir successfully rolled out 29 rural branches of KGFS from scratch in Tamil Nadu and Odisha. He also moved on to co-found Milk Mantra Dairy Private Limited in Odisha, which is an immensely successful venture today. He has set up the complete sourcing network, the logistics network, and the processing plant of the entity. After the present venture, AgriLink Food Processing Private Limited in the field of food processing and agri-supply chain, which is a win-win proposition for the farmers, the company, and the consumers. I would like to welcome Lieutenant Colonel Ashit Mahapatra. He will be presenting on the topic Agri-Entrepreneurship. Please welcome him with a round of applause.
of all, I express my heartfelt gratitude to the university for inviting me to share my thoughts with you. Today, what I'm basically to speak on agri-entrepreneurship. It will be from my experience, what I have learned after my army career. I have been into entrepreneurship in 3 startups, starting with ICSIABM and Milk Mantra. Now my other company actually. Right. Here, when I speak about it, I will keep my focus on the scenario of Odisha, but that doesn't mean it cannot be applied to anywhere in India. It can apply anywhere, especially in state of AP. And because AP is much advanced in the sector of Odisha, it's much easier to apply. So let us go ahead and towards the end, we have 5 minutes question session. Because if you would have something to ask, you can ask. Right. Right. But first the question comes. Somebody asked the question, what is scope? Where is scope? Right. Always, as a student, it comes to your mind. Is there any scope of entrepreneurship in the agri sector, especially in states like Odisha or eastern states? Because see, if you focus on Odisha, basically you can count 4 to 5 brands. Milky Way is one of them. And few more brands, only 3 4 of them, not many. And also, so in the state, we are a net importer. We don't produce enough what we consume, especially in the sector. Only I'm talking about agriculture and food sector. So the question comes, ये कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा है तो अभी क्या entrepreneurship करेंगे? What do you do? My precise answer is that is the opportunity for you. Why? I just explain why I am talking like that. So I said yes, very much possible. Answer is a bold, clear yes. I have experienced myself when I moved in to Odisha, lot of KGFS in Ganjam district, Barampur and Ganjam district. We found so many challenges. We didn't get enough people to go man our branches. It is shocking for us. In fact, one of my colleagues sitting here, Arun is here, we are shocked. No manpower to work with. And we found solution to work with. Went ahead, immensely successful entity. Then came Milk Mantra. Same thing. Odisha mein, there is no milk available. That was a statement made by somebody, an expert, a media level expert, told to me and Sikumar, both of our founders of Milk Mantra. We moved in then, but we had one point we knew very well. Till that time, the milk availability was low, but that was not what is concerning. Concerning that is not what is assuring. But he knew very much there is a visibility. That is what I will talk about now. Why? First of all, geographically, we are no less. I state we have got all things possible, good things available for agriculture in Odisha. How many types of soil conditions, economic conditions? We have sufficient fresh water and huge coastline and adequate supply of forest resources, 30% European forest. Now, second is we have a very strong tradition in agriculture and dairy and livestock farming. You go to any village in Odisha or Andhra, everybody knows agriculture. It is not a foreign language to them. Most of them have got cows or goats or something they are involved in, fishery or poultry, something. So it's not new to them. You don't have to reinvent it. And again, we are fortunate to have excellent logistics connectivity, especially rail, road, ports, international airport, everything is available. We need to tap into it and exploit these facilities. Excellent point. Nothing is happening in the state, there is not much competition. It's a green field to you. You have to plan it out yourself. You have the freedom to do as per your choice, as per your thought, as per your dreams. That is what is for competition. If there is huge competition, your bandwidth gets limited. You cannot do much. You have to follow a particular path. Or you do a complete disruption. So there is a difference. And of course, labor is little cheaper. If input is cheap, your product will be completely cheaper. Right, let us move ahead. Okay, last 2 points. Very critical, please remember. The peace state is mostly peaceful. And more importantly, we have a very stable government in the state. And it's also a supportive government. This matters a lot. Maybe today, Northeast, to consider India as Northeast, maybe it has got one of the maximum agri potential today in the country, but we don't hear about them. We don't get their pineapples, one of the best in India, maybe best in the world. We don't get them. Why? Because last 2 reasons. Unfavorable, not very peaceful, and politically not very stable. Very, very critical. Please remember this. Right? But still, we're way behind. We're way behind. What is that? Way behind compared to agriculture or agri-produce. Why? There are many challenges, but these are what as an entrepreneur you need to solve it. You find a solution to it. And that is what makes it interesting. If it is a very easy path, you not enjoy it. First, most critical, the mindsets. We generally have a mindset of job seeker, not job creator. Especially, I would say the government will become like a. I see in I studied in one university, University, Odisha University of Technology. I did my first there and engineering there. You go to a veterinary college, I want to recruit people for next month. We wanted to create a veterinary network. We went there. Nobody joined. You know, there's one reason. Why should I go to you? That is the mindset. You need to change. Because we always perceive business as risky. Yeah, business is risky, 50-50 always. Always 50-50. But that is one interesting part. You need challenge. If you want to do something in life, if you have a dream, take a calculated risk. Otherwise, you regret when you turn 80, 85, for the end of life, you regret many tiny here. Don't do that. Take a calculated risk, don't jump to fire, but take a calculated risk. And many times, though the perception is changing, businessman and business entities are unethical. It's not ethical. It's a perception, mindset. It's a changing, but still, please remember that's one of the biggest challenges today is block is that, nothing else. many people from Odisha have done wonderful well outside. One of them is here in Andhra Pradesh, whom I know, is by my family Baba. Wonderful well. There are not one, many of them. But unfortunately, they never tried in the state. Everybody outside, went to Bangalore, went to other states, Maharashtra. Odisha, we need to come back here. I'm saying same thing applicable to even from Andhra. Do it in your state. That's what they expect. Nobody from outside will come do. If somebody comes outside and do something in the state, he's actually taking your work material away, not giving back to the state. Remember that. Do it for your own state. That's very critical. If you don't take this, nobody will take this. Yeah. Next is available to agri produce. We don't have the right quality, the right quantity, right variety, and more importantly, right price. These four, if you do not match in the agriculture sector, probably you will not be able to sell, and obviously not able to profitable. All these things are possible. One of those methods I just now, Mr. Ishwar just got aggregation. Aggregation is happening in a big wide country. FPOs, aggregation, a big wide country, digitalization. So this, there is a solution to it also. But we need to do it. Today is a problem. Yeah. Just a corollary to that. Today, suppose Odisha produces third largest quantity of jackfruit. Can anyone, what of you, I have told you a lot of students, can anyone tell me how much jackfruit is produced in Odisha? And which area? We all know, simple as that. But you surprised to know, I get calls because my company is on the website, on the internet, you call us asking, I want to take jackfruit to Odisha. Can you help us? They don't know. So, and this is not only one product. There are many products which Odisha produces in large quantity. Unfortunately, they are not aggregated. The information not on the internet how to find. Without that, obviously, the selling power or selling opportunities for farmer reduces. Shortage of trained manpower, very severe, very severe, but with the Skill India initiative of Government of India and respective state governments, it is being reached to some extent, but long way to go. We don't get quality manpower. That is a serious issue. Even my present company also I am facing serious problem. Get quality manpower, handle a lot of activities like the plant, sourcing network, the sales side, the backend support like IT, with serious problems. But again, opportunities there. Things are started, long way to go. For value chain. Just now, I just mentioned to you regarding logistics. We have good logistics network. Having a logistics network, one thing, but using things separate. Value chain, one example I can tell you. Pre-harvest, post-harvest, treatments, processing at the farm gate level, then food processing at various company or various facilities, packaging, and of course then taking it out, the proper transport to the destination. Not there. Or taking it there in broken condition. Not working. Out of 140 cold stores today, what we have in Odisha, only 25 or are working. A very serious question, man. Not only the painful for the entrepreneur who has set up the cold store by spending 4 to 5 crores, not working, but also concerning for the state government, on more importantly for us as citizens. Don't depend everything on government. Government is not expect government to do everything for you, then it's a game is lost. Do it yourself. One example I can give you why these cold stores are not working is because farmers are not producing enough potato, the main crop. for the cold store. While potential exists, but not everyone can produce. There are many reasons to just read about it. There are many reasons why it is not been done. But there is a solution to it also. While the same cold store works very well in West Bengal. Same cold store. In fact, the capacity of some cold stores in Bengal included 20,000 metric tons. Standard capacity 5,000 metric tons. 20,000 metric tons, 30,000 metric tons, one cold store. Go to UP, works beautifully. Same cold stores, but not in state like us. Because there is a value in India. Right? Again, food processing, hardly much is done. Hardly anything happening. Except something spices and little bit of milk. Nothing much is happening. We're not doing much food processing. Here, the big opportunity lies for you to work on the value chain system. First is starting from aggregation or digitalization of agriculture. Value chain, you can work on any aspect of value chain. You can set up a small cold chain network or any other network. And also you can set up a food processing company for a certain commodities. Like actually, what we're doing now, because our main product is a fruit juice now, brand number AHA. What we do now is, we are presently buying fruit pulp and juices from outside the state, but we are setting up our own company here, Bhubaneswar, own plant, where we buy from the Odisha farmers fruits and other kinds of inputs for making a pulp out of it, which we will ultimately use in our juice and also have secondary sales in open market, in cans or other formats. That's what you speak about it here also. Right? The challenges actually are opportunities for you to look at. Right? We can change all that. It's all here. Nothing else. In here, very small place. That's it. Within 2 years. No government help. All these are excuses. Just drop the excuses. Just drop the excuses. You look at excuses, you start thinking, and it not work. Right. Now focus here. I had just listed few of them. There are many. I am not putting any boundary for you, your thoughts. It is immense. It's open. I just listed few of them because of possible time I'm not going to discuss everything. Horticulture, vegetable, livestock, floriculture. Can you believe it today? India is a net importer of flowers. While we use so much flower in our temples and palaces everywhere. But it's a net importer. Huge opportunity here. Huge opportunity. Please look at it very seriously. Floriculture. I'm saying floriculture is stated covered commodities. Spices, rice, and pulses. Millet is now the in thing. 2023 will be the year of millets. Which were forgotten. All of us India were forgotten. Except I think Bengal, sorry, Karnataka and some part of Andhra to consume a lot of millets. But Odisha produces a lot of millet, consumption very less. They all go to Bangalore and other places. Again, big opportunity here. Somebody wants to work only on millets. Right. I will now just focus my attention on horticulture sector because possible time. In the horticulture sector, I will deal with two products for you. Just to give an example. What can be done? These are not the end of the story or this is the way it is done. I'm just giving you examples just to open your thoughts, just to excite you about how much things can happen here. Odisha has got around 100 kinds of vegetables and fruits. Andhra has got more. Ask honestly to yourself, how many can you count? Mango everyone count. Ask how many, can you count 10 or 15, 20. Our climate supports all this. We are not exploited. Take your mind to Nasik, Maharashtra. There, India's best aloe vera industry has come up. Now let's come back to AP. All of you know Guntur, all of you know Guntur chili. What happened there? 40% of Indian produce comes from that area. Similarly, 40% of mango pulp comes from Chittoor. Tottapuri mango pulp, Chittoor. Period. Because somebody worked on that. It didn't happen by chance. There are opportunities. Like Andhra is now coming with banana. So all of you have opportunity to work on this area. Now let's go. First is, let me take you what the opportunity available, immediate opportunities in terms of marketing. First is fresh products with packaging as now the market, like Big Basket and many others. You can sell them. You can sell them online also on Amazon or Google, which is not the area. If you want to see a model, please see a model of Maha Mango, Maharashtra cooperative mango cooperative, Maha Mango. See how they're done. Very simple but effective, right? Then the fruit pulp, whatever you can work on or can produce, can be given B2B or retail market, and also there are other value-added services, like for example, you can make juice, dehydrated product, so many of them. This is online. It's you who have to think about what you want to do, where do you want to put your finger at, which one interests you the most, right? So huge opportunity. Now let us go to Pro 1. I just discuss Pro products just to introduce you how things can happen. Right. Before that, I'm just going to talk about mango available in Odisha. Odisha produces around 8.5 lakh metric tons of mango, out of which Amrapali mango is the predominant variety. And Amrapali mango so far is known as a non-pulping variety. But if you see reports of Amrapali's quality, it says very clearly it is next to the best mango in India. What is the best mango in India? What is the best mango in India? Alphonse. I thought the answer come from you. Best mango in Alphonse. Yes or no? Where is it produced? Maharashtra. North Nagin area, the main area. It is next to that. I also didn't know about it. But the challenge came because when I thought let us state में कुछ pulping करना है mango pulp because यहाँ juice, our 75% of our juice is mango juice. So we thought we'll give our own product, own pulp. When I went to the field and found out which mango is available, it would say Tottapuri. But Tottapuri would say doesn't have. I didn't think. That is separate. We are trying to develop some farmers for Tottapuri mango cultivation. It will take 3 to 4 years time. That's separate. But now coming to, when you start thinking, why can't we do the same thing with Amrapali mango? It's already available. Yes, it is very costlier, but so is better quality. We came across this report. It says very clearly it's second to Alfonso. But nobody uses it because nobody has tried it. Because Odisha is one of the states that has the maximum of Amrapali. No other state has. But opportunity is here. To never ever give up thinking or going by tradition. ये नहीं होता है, ये नहीं चलता है, ऐसे नहीं कर सकते हैं. And you fail. You read one book by Dr. Punyan. He is the first one to produce milk powder from buffalo milk. Please read read that book because you are not agri entrepreneur. I think that book, My Story or something, I have already read 2 books here. Please read. It's good for you. He produced first time in India, first time not in India, but the world, milk powder from milk, which was clearly stated not possible. Not in India, US also. US is like everybody said here, but they took our challenge, tried it, they found it successful. They will set up a plant, complete plant, which was inaugurated by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He came to see whether they can produce milk powder from buffalo milk. He writes there, my neck was on fire. Prime Minister standing, eminent scientists from the world are standing, and here the person, Amul and his team is challenging them here, because buffalo milk is the predominant milk in Gujarat and Western states. Cow milk are very less. He writes, when he found first powder falling, tears came to his eyes. See, kind of risk he has taken. Had not that happened, today we would not have heard of Dr. Korea. But conviction, trial, and calculated risk we have to take. So please don't think, मेरे को इसने बताया या some eminent scientist told me ये सब नहीं हो सकता, कुछ तो नहीं हो सकता. Try your best, keep your best shot. Possibilities there. If it happens, good for your state, good for your people, good for your farmers. Try doing it. Failing is all right, but try it. Okay. So anyway, so this is how mango also we're going to try Amrapali now. In Odisha, state Odisha. Let's see how it goes. We're not yet we found it in large scale successful. We're not yet found in commercial scale. Okay. This is how I think most of you would have seen mango pulp coming. Right side is a 250 kg commercial packs in aseptic packaging. Left side is a small pack up to 5.1 kg canned pulp. The right side ones are much more cost effective and a big market. Today in India, I just planned today, we have got 80% shortage of mango pulp. Maybe next year we will not get mango drinks. We will not get. Because this time the mango harvest was so poor, the very less of mango pulp. The market is huge. You may think of this one of your on the right side talking about aseptic bags, mango pulp aseptic bag. You try it, get it for yourself. Right. Pineapple. Do you consume pineapple at home? Yeah, I'm not here to students. Yeah. Anyone? Do you eat pineapples or is a fruit which is grown on the road? Do you like pineapples? Where do you produce the best pineapple in India? Northeast. Tripura, Arunachal, like Meghalaya. Have you ever tried those? Some food festival somewhere? Probably not. Obviously not available. In Europe, the consumption of pineapple is around 10 times than India. We produce it, but we don't value it. In fact, there are buyers who have come from Europe to India who manufacture tree. They want to take from India. They are surprised to see India produces pineapple because so far they are taking from Philippines. Philippines produces a huge amount of pineapple and Indonesia. When they found India produces the same variety, they were keen. Because why? Again, political stability, proximity to Europe, all these things, and logistic network. Here, It is required in this form. Simple can pot. Remove the core, remove the ice, and package in sugar solution. And the cut pieces right there. You might have seen it also, but most of them now it is not that easily available in the market. A huge market we are sitting, exporting, opportunity are huge. You can look at it. Jackfruit is one of them, which I have not mentioned here the first time. Jackfruit you can look at. Again, not available products. Somebody could are doing it now. Jackfruit atta and other things not available. There are many of them. This is unending. Your interest, your choice, what matters are there. Right. Last point, my last slide. Either any entrepreneur or any entrepreneur, you please be a job creator, not a job seeker. मैं कैसे नौकरी दूंगा? मैं क्या ढूंढूंगा नहीं? That is what should be mindset, right? Be any state you are, ensure that the state becomes net exporter, not a net importer. In Odisha, we import vegetables, we import mangoes, we import fish, we import eggs, everything. But eggs are now reducing because Odisha government has taken very active step to promote poultry farming in Odisha. So it's not reducing. But there are other opportunities where we can exploit. Same thing goes to Andhra Pradesh, any state in fact in India. Look at a state like that. Like your state, that is your state. Farmers need to be, please remember this, when you work with a farmer, please introduce those farmers to the market demand. Sing them the market demand. Tell them a crop which will work for you. Like for pineapple, you want to work with. Then tell the farmer, you need this quality of pineapple, this much quantity, at this rate. And do for it. But please honor it. Please honor it. Once you tell them, give the word, don't go back. So you be careful of the market, study the market, come back, tell the farmer, if this produce will work in the market. So sing that. Without singing, again, failure will happen. It will not work out. Value chain need to find you. What I mean find you is, again, what kind of pre-harvest, post-harvest treatment required, what kind of logistics support is required. But like for example, why can't we get pineapple from Northeast to Chennai or Bangalore? Because logistic problem. Because the voluminous, we can't get it. But government of India has introduced a very good system known as Kishan Rate, where at 50% cost of logistics, which is subsidized by railway, you can get any produce, you can produce to any part of India, but it has a huge quantity. That kind of thing also is works. Pure trading, but yes, it works, because it's not easy to do. Then obviously, academic institution like this, you have huge scope of research. In fact, you can as an entrepreneur also, you can go to that. You can set up your own small research lab. Right? You can do that also for ensuring good quality, quantity material. Next one that bring out is, again, my personal experience. It's good to introduce a farmer to a particular activity, but if you don't handle them for 3 to 5 years, it fails. Because farmers, they don't see any, or they find a resistance, they'll give up. And when they give up, you also gone. So be with them, handle them, give them full support. Like here I will discuss one very critical point of giving full support to the farmer. In milk mantra, what do? We don't just collect milk. We are not a trader, collect milk from farmer. What do? Once we collect milk from farmer, the farmer gets enrolled with us. We gave them 100% service. Means starting from what it requires feed is sent to him on credit to his doorstep. Calcium or some additives, and all veterinary support we give to them. Starting from insemination and what you call healthcare activities. Then we have got deworming, vaccination, whatever you name it, is given to them at a very nominal cost. No profit, no loss business. Next comes is we also link up those farmers to financial institutions, say banks or capital loan. 5,500 loans were given out to farmers. Ticket size starting from 55,000 to around 85,000. And we didn't stop there. And that was tripartite agreement. Milk Mantra was not a guarantor of their loan. Bank will do for them. But Milk Mantra can tell the bank, in case the farmer is stops pouring milk with Milk Mantra, then immediately information is for the bank. The bank staff come and check them what is happening. Because a cow, a milking cow, when they get 50,000 loan, you can easily repay the loan. No commissions. If we don't stop there also, now you will loan the milk farmer and say, okay, तुम्हारा है तुम पूछो, तुम देखो, तो नहीं हो पाएगा. Hand holding is required. We used to tell them, so and so place, these types of cows are available. So these are the vendors whom we get. In fact, I used to come down to places nearby, Port Andhra Pradesh, to fetch vendors, cow vendors, who can supply good quality cow and who are ethical vendors. We don't want to cheat the farmers. So we used to connect these farmers with them. Our veterinarians used to stand there, telling the farmer, these are the points of the cow. Likely, this was being given. This is a health condition, everything told. But the final decision lies with the farmer. We empower him to take decision. We don't take decision on his behalf. Please remove this difference. Otherwise, you will get stuck. Farmers can't blaming you. Empower him, take a decision, but let him or her take a decision. So it is a holistic approach to milk collection or milk mantra. Once any farmer gets connected to milk mantra, he or she doesn't have to look over his shoulder. ये कैसे लाऊं, वो कहाँ से लाऊं, information कहाँ से मिलेगा? My cow has health problems. What to do? The calf is not eating. What to do? All the things that. That is what I'm talking about. Handholding farmer. And here is a big opportunity for you to become an entrepreneur. You can start this service, veterinary service, online. But we give it out to the farmer. Farmer say, raise to the farmer, it just says, I have this problem. Your team should immediately or your person should immediately either give a voice call, a video call, understand the problem. You can solve that fine. Not possible, your inspector, like what a livestock inspector or a doctor, go to the farmer, charge him or her. They don't mind paying if they get quality service on time. If the farmer is calling you, my cow is not eating, you can go to him after 3 days, better not go. But if you go immediately to the next morning or 3 hours, you have won the farmer's confidence. This is again a big service you can do. Government services are existing, but they are very inefficient and not very poor quality. Here is the opportunity for you to give service, especially in Eastern state, including Andhra Pradesh. Right? Just an example, there are many more opportunities can come up. Authentic data collection and updated data. Many apps are now being available in India, Enam, Valigudi. Valigudi was introduced us in 2015 or 14 when the disease started. There are many more apps are available. You also can do Differentiation. You just collect data, set up a quality assessment lab near the source gate. Like for example, I'm just giving you an example. Say, Guntur. You set up a lab. I'm sure the lab is there. I don't know, but lab is there. Suppose there is no lab. Also, let's talk about this big place. Haldi, carbonate, good quality haldi is produced. You set up a lab here. accredited lab, government of India accredited lab, which can tell this is the quality of this produce. And you upload it in your whatever network or app and saying this much quality, at this quantity, at this rate is available at so place. I go one step further, I can get it. There will be so many buyers who contact you. People want to buy, they're not getting the right kind of contacts. So put it, moment you say, I assume the quality, the quantity, and the price, you have won the game. Again, big opportunity here. Only authentication of data and right data, and of course, setting up your own lab or something like that. Last but not the least, whatever you do, select one or two products. Don't say I will do 100 products. Are you buy? You are human being. Are you buy? Take one or two products. Focus it. Today, Odisha, in frozen corn, the largest industry in Asia. There are 3-4 companies, only 4-5 companies. Largest in Asia, not in India, Asia. Why? Because there is a very focused approach to that industry since almost 30 years. That's good result now. Same cashew. Cashew industry in Odisha and Andhra, in Odisha is more developed. Because again, the focus on approach will come from Odisha. So do something focused. You want to do healthcare or you want to across support. You want to set up any good lab or testing quality or soil testing, anything. So the opportunity gives, you go to any state, the more the state is, the more the opportunity for you. And my sincere request to you is, wherever, whichever state you belong to, whichever place you belong to, try to do something there. Don't run away from there. जहाँ तक कुछ नहीं हो रहा है, अरे आप तो वहाँ सीखेगा है ना? Go back there. You can do it there. It will be difficult. You will sweat more. अगर 2-4 चप्पल घिसेंगे, ताली सुनेंगे, loss होगा, don't give up. Plan it, take the risk, go ahead. Otherwise, things will not develop in your state. Yes, you can do otherwise, but try to do it in your state. So opportunities like a sector in India is actually opening up. This is a time. I think you are lucky to be doing this courses, agriculture, MBA, whatever you're doing in this time. It's just opening up. Huge opportunities. You last for like 30-40 years. Get into it as an entrepreneur. Do something else. Thank you very much. That's all I say. Any questions, good or bad, please ask. Take it seriously because entrepreneurship is interesting. First step, मजा भी है. You will not sleep at night. रात को नींद नहीं आएगा. बोलेगा कुछ ने बोला था कि बड़ा बात पे गया था, फिर रात को नींद नहीं आ रहा है. नहीं आएगा. But if you enjoy that kind of life, if you enjoy challenges, if you enjoy adventure, do it. And you succeed. Definitely succeed. Definitely succeed. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for patient hearing, and I hope I can at least motivate one person in this hall to become an entrepreneur. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for enlightening us about the scope of agri-entrepreneurship, opportunities available in India, and especially Odisha itself. Many people don't know what are the opportunities available in Odisha. So I hope they learned some new things.
I think one question coming up. Thank you for observing it. Who has done it? EHA actually the fruit juice brand just launched in Odisha, and it is the name starts from it's like a bliss without any happiness, without any reason. We become happy when my laptop will get, I'm happy. But happy for how much time? Once after a new brand came, or change, that happiness. Happiness is you are happy without anything. That is what is Eha. It is a Sanskrit name. That's what Eha means. And of course, Eha is also the connotation like name of Vishnu also. But the second part. First part is Eha is happiness without anything. Just be happy. Thank you.
So our next guest speaker is Professor Prabhupada K. Dhar, General Manager of JK Paper Mills Limited. So he is currently the General Manager and State Head CSR in Sustainability of JK Paper Mills Limited. He is also the mentor of the Climate Reality Project USA in India. Adjunct Professor of Sri Sri University for Climate Change and Sustainability. Co-Director of the Resources Center for Climate Change, Sustainability, Education and Practices, Sri Sri University, and member Regional Advisory Group NABARD. So Bhubaneswar also served as member CSR Subcommittee Government of Odisha. So we are giving this time to sir to. He is going to present on topic innovative approaches to creating livelihoods. Yeah, we are giving this time for sir. He will join in online session.
Hello. Okay, I think your voice is breaking. I think voice in the Zoom is not very audible to me. No, I'm talking in my mobile. So anyway, let me start presenting. Let's see. Take okay. Thank you.
Sir, you can.
Thank you very much. Hello. Hello.
Sir, you can start by sharing the screen.
One
Thank
second. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, I think.
Sir, and presentation is also possible.
Thank you very much, the Centurion University and the friends, Professor Anil Kumarji and the team. And it's an opportunity for me. I feel I'm privileged to share some of my thoughts, but I'm extremely sorry that I could not move physically to the venue at Paralakemundi because I suffered fever last night. But let me just share some of my thoughts. And since I have been asked to share, am I audible, please? Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Okay. So, as you all know, livelihood is one of the central, subject for most of the organizations working on, poverty alleviations, economic transformations, agriculture, rural transformations, and so on and so forth. And I have certain experimentations for the last 2.5 years or 3 years at Viagra. And as you know, I think that may really help us to, scale up and do the things at our level if we can see some merits in that. As you all know, Raigada, Odisha, as such, this is the enterprise promotion context, livelihood promotion context, high poverty level, and the Odisha state economy, and aspiring $1 trillion by 2030, and contexting to that, a lot of adversary or reverse things are also there: high poverty, low farmers income. 62% of state's populations are youths, and mostly, more than 22 million youths have registered for the jobs, and so many other things are there. This is the context where I have thought of designing the program, and one of the major focus for me was basically the sustainability sector, because the Odisha being one of the two extreme things. Odisha contributes hugely to the carbon emission field, also suffers hugely on disaster funds. So I have thought of taking the sustainability sector livelihood in my program design as part of the JK CSR, and we have got a sports social foundation, which is the CSR foundations, is experimenting on various concepts and programs in the ground. So basing on that, I have certain experience to share it. And this is what the basis of my livelihood promotion is. The first thing, the zero budget enterprises by the community members. This is very important because most of the time it seems people say that we need money, the bank, financial inclusions are not there, banks are not giving things and all that. But I have experimented zero budget enterprise, which has been quite successful, and it is been possible by the young people and the farmers and women. The second point, what I've seen, that the enterprise in sustainability and transformative sectors is very, very important, and we should focus on that. It's not conventional things. People talk about, ancillary industries, so many other things are there, but I think we should give due respect to the climate change and the sustainability pattern of livelihoods. And the third thing, I think the previous speaker are talking about, I was, because of my health things, I could not join from the beginning. They talked very rightly, enterprise with supply chains, from productions to the storage to the packaging, processing, and marketing. This is very, very important because there are huge scope to build the livelihood through enterprise in these components and parameters. And as you all know, most of the people do talk about enterprise and livelihood in individual things, but I think we are taking the group-based enterprise, by farmers, youths, and women, and even the girls. And in the livelihood process, what I've seen, the convergence and partnership in finance, philanthropic, and governance. Unless it happens, the livelihood cannot sustain. And that is what it has been demonstrated in our fields, in our villages. The final things, I think, that not, last but least, the institutional capacity building with hand-holding supports. People do say about SNGs, farmers producer companies, youth collectives, farmers clubs. So many things have been there, but we have created a livelihood community based livelihood stakeholders, of different types. So they need a constant institutional building process for their statutory management, which is a minimum condition for getting the support from outside, like convergence and partnership, the knowledge, so many things are there. The capacity building of theirs to show the leadership and owning of their own process is also very important. And handholding. This is what I have observed when I used to, 30 years of my experience I've seen in policy advocacy, why most of the schemes doesn't work and why the livelihood fails is basically, handholding with the system. That is one of the critical factors that has contributed immensely while going for the sustainable livelihood. With this, premises, I have certain chains I have to share with you. The stories of change and transformation. Let me share with one of the things how it happened in a tribal village. You might be seeing here the pictures of bamboo jewelries, the bamboo handicraft. I'm standing there, and here I think one of the pictures is missing. The lady is sitting with the dignity kind of things. Let me share with you that as you know, the Rayagada JK paper situates in Rayagada, and one of the most backward and aspirational districts. And most of the families are earning their livelihood with their very small holding farm lands. And compared to that, you have got it might be observing that the massive crop pattern is cotton, which is a monotonous one-time cultivation in that crop in that land. And that is again, if the landholding pattern is very small, less than 1 acre or less than 2 acres, instead of gaining anything, they rather do their labor in their own land, getting nothing and getting indebted. That is one thing. The second thing is that the youths, girls and boys, they have been found as the first generation of educated people in their families, and they have certain amount of aspirations. I cannot say that highly aspirant, but they have aspirations, and mostly on job markets. And it has happened in a context, and most of the youths, as they become educated, they put demand before the company for jobs, and which is impossible for the company to provide the jobs to a large number of things. Then what I started a program called Youth Engagement Program. And the Youth Engagement Program, we took an approach of forming of Balika mandals and youth clubs in villages, and almost hundreds of villages we have got Balika mandals and youth clubs. And then in Youth Engagement pattern, what we have done, we have given the digital exposure to these youths, becoming and making them more readiness for the job market, which has been quite successful. And more than 1,000 tribal youths, primitive tribal youths have been given the basic computer literacy, and now they are going for the advanced learning. That limits us reaching out to more people. That again, after the training, they become individual kind of things, and they earn their livelihoods and kind of things. And then we have through these digital learning centers, 12 centers running now, and the youths really get exposed to the Internet of Things. People browse their jobs, and first time they see the computer things and Google Shots, website, all these things they do. That gives a different curiosity among them to also get engaged in their livelihood things. They do small business, and they also get connected to other things. But most importantly, which I'm going to tell about, the girls and boys, the Balika mandals are very responsive to their community and the developing things in their homes. And as you all know, bamboo, there is a government of India has changed the policy, in 2017, making bamboo is a grass. The organization works in 2019 in Bhubaneswar. And most of the people were really expect that bamboo should cultivate in large, numbers, so that it should be utilized in, logistics sector, it could be utilized in cement manufacturing sector, so many things are there. But when I come to the farmers, giving them this high funda kind of thing, bamboo farming was not taking off. So then I organized the Balikas and young girls for the bamboo jewelry. This bamboo jewelry idea came when I discussed with the NIFT. And a friend of mine, Professor Jaina, and me were traveling across, and we found that the products like also different slides also what are products. Bamboo is one of the things readily available, but the bamboo can really change the complete rural economy, and if it can be used in producing utilities to replace plastics, to replace metals. So then I requested him that, see, the tribal communities have two things in their hand. One is bamboo is available. And second thing is that they have some artisan ability and capability and artisan skills. This need to be explored. So then he said, absolutely, you are absolutely right, because the natural fibers are available, and these skills, the artisan skills need to be explored, and we should produce new products. And this new product came up as the bamboo jewelry. And we have given 2 trainings, and one is basic training for 15 days by the master artisans from NIFT and the professors at NIFT. And during the training, people use their traditional artisan, skill producing jewelries and design much better way than what they were expecting previously. And now the second training they have already taken. So in an outside, I can say I started with 25 girls. These 25 girls now producing every day and every month around 2 to 3 lakh rupees bamboo jewelries. And we have no productions. I mean, there is a huge demand from outside India. We have got an American organization called Nanban Foundation. They have started, demanding things to sell there. And now these 25 girls, those who have been trained, given the artisan certificates from the government of Odisha, the ITDA has come forward and given the land for the Common Facility Center to start the bamboo jewelry workshop. And Bandhan Vikas Kendra is another scheme been linked to things. And most importantly, that the skill ministry has sanctioned 1 crore rupees to the district skill committee to extend this program to 300 girls. And now the production capacity of the girls, those who are sitting at their home doing nothing, now they are producing almost 2 to 3 lakh rupees every month. But the total capacity could be more than 10 lakh in a month if it can happen. This is one story of the bamboo group of the things by the girls, and this is growing. And we have a formal, things there in the village Badachandili. And this Badachandili village is now been already, mapped in the special mapping of the Pradhan Mantri Kushal Vikas Yojana. And these girls now, producing on decentralized and centralized. Those who are taking the materials to their home, they are producing and submitting. And we have set up a rural mart. Through the rural mart, we are selling. We're very happy that in Raigada railway station, anybody going there, you can see that one district, one product, bamboo jewelry has got a permanent stall there. And there, both market and product and the total supply chain has been established. Now the girls, 25 girls are expecting to get at least 22 to 32,000 rupees per month if they can utilize full of their capacity in a flexible time for 5 to 6 hours of things. So this is one of the things what I see that if it can go to 300 girls, and the economy can, the rural, this clusters economy will be certainly going to be rejuvenated. And this is coming as an alternative things. And we have got angel investments from the investors from USA. Now, I think 3 days before, we have got a invitation from legal department to open up the shop in the Camera Hut, and we are going to Mela and selling it. And bamboo jewelry people are demanding because, as you all know, the millennial group, they demand, they are very environment friendly, and it is very handy, and design wise it's very good, and it's all natural fine. So now it is acquiring the market, and it's one of the success story I can tell you this is happening. And I'm sure that the bamboo plantation things will go in a different direction. The second one is bamboo handicrafts. The ladies who have, generally, people used to have very traditional products, baskets, X, Y, Z. So we have also given them the training. Now they have started producing home decors. Even they are producing, water bottles, teacups, and the home decors of different types. So many good things they are doing. And every month they are doing production. They used to do some, 10 to 12,000 rupees. Today they are also producing more than 1 lakh rupees every month. This, producer group where Ormas, OLM, and the IT department have joined, and we have given our CSR support. So I can tell you why bamboo. Bamboo has tremendous capacity to replace the plastic. Now, after these 2 experimentations, the another dimension has come, this packaging, gift packaging and product packaging. As I said to you that we have got some 550 SHGs, and this rural mart selling SSG products. And all these products, they sell through these plastic bags. Now people have started, producing the bamboo, boxes, and it's very well designed boxes, and they were packaging and adding very little money and giving the gifts and even sending these materials to the things. And now this sector is getting robust. I'm expecting once the bamboo things happen, the plastic replacement will be possible. The packaging and long-term use of the things, for example, plastic bottles, which Northeast and other parts of the country they have been already doing. So we can replace the plastic and metals, and bamboo economy will be rejuvenated. Bamboo economy were lost because paper companies did not take bamboo, after it got regulated, then it got further deregulated. Now it's open other things. So bamboo youths and the girls and the jewelry sector, which is the fashion technology, and also the home decor and the logistics sectors. Every sector, the things are going faster, and things have been changed. So I think this is why I consider one of the successful livelihood things, both for the women and educated girls, and even those who are maintaining the supply chain, sending the materials, packaging, and that young young boys, and they are also receiving money. And rural mart is one of the center where all the products gets aggregated, packed, and sold, and they also earn money. And this is a producer company of the women, by the woman, managed by the woman. So it gives both social inclusion, sustainability, a pattern of livelihood, and economic rejuvenation, contributing to GDP, one livelihood. Everything has happened in this thing. I'm very satisfied in this thing, and everybody is appreciating this thing. I hope this can be experimented, can be replicated on the part of the state and the country. The second thing I would really like to share is the far-based things, where we have transformed the agriculture completely from cotton to organic, and through with the Raigada and our CSR things, we have converted, more than 300 to 400 acres of land, all-time, income-giving opportunities. As you all know that cotton is one crop, monotonous crop, and small land holding, and because of the water, other crops are not taken up. We have given them the cluster-based solar pump sets, irrigations, by spending 7.5 lakh rupees each. Some 12 solar irrigations have been already formed, set up. And here we have used the flow source of water, and after experimenting, borewell based is not very sustainable. After that, for the water, the same small patch of land, they are getting 3 crops. Anybody talks about doubling the farmers' income, or doubling or giving the liquidity to the farmers at their time of need, you need really diversify the crops, and you need to utilize their land differently. And after we have given the water, they have started doing the crop plannings, and same patch of the land giving 3 crops in a year. And even input cost become very, very minimal if they go for the crops like banana. We have given almost 1 lakh banana saplings last year, and just expecting a bumper productions, and people have already sold in 7 to 8 months of time, and they're opting more bananas. Similarly, the pointed gourd and other things. So we have changed the ecosystem of livelihood by giving them inputs like water supply, and we'll be very happy. Everybody is saying that the Prime Minister Kisan Krisi Yojana, PMKSY, is a flexible scheme. But if you read that scheme, it is only for the people those who have 2 acres of land above farmers. It means basically small farmers, but above 2 acres of land. But if you see that 80% of the farmers here are less than even 1 acre of land, even 10 cent of land, 20 cent of land. I mean, horticultural crops can give them a good livelihood, but because there is no water, there is no water management properly, there is no assured irrigation, they are not able to do that. And at our level, what we have done, we really created a model by making the small farmers of the group into 2 acres of 5 farmers land could be in a group that's 2 acres, then put an application for the DDH, Raigada, and getting them, sanctioned the, government subsidy, and we provided the farmers' contributions. That played a very good role. The 30 or 40% of the farmers' contribution we gave, and now we have already gone 100 acres of land solar irrigation. I'm sorry, the drip irrigation. This scheme has never been possible for the smaller marginal farmers, and this has been possible. And these farmers, 600, 700 farmers, those who have been now benefited under the drip irrigation, they started cultivating various kinds of things. We have integrated both food crop, horticultural crop, vegetables, everything together. I mean, now every time for the vegetables can give liquidity in the month of July. And again, if they can go for the pointed gourd or the banana, they can cultivate once, they can harvest for 3 years, and they don't have to do anything more. These clusters have been really playing big role, and this has happened. And the cluster-based farm transformations with high remunerative, sustainable foods are very possible. This is also giving the thing. I think most of the farmers will benefited. I think we have got the 15,000 farm families across, 2 districts, Raigada and Puri, have been benefited hugely in this case. So this is one of the things could be best thing. Here, the crux of the issue is that farmers' contribution and the convergence and partnership with the government. Here, the handholding plays a big role, and no farmers can have the upfront investment capacity and the paper, documents, and kind of things. There where lies the problem. The schemes are there at the district level, but that doesn't reach to the people. And here we play a big role, being the people and the government together and making it. And we'll be very happy that we have also set up more than 20, 30, these farmers resource centers in clusters of villages. We have got a structured POCA, all weather permanent, places where 200, 300 square feet room has been constructed where they can keep almirah, they sit, the government people go and interact, and so many things are there. So after this, and the after seeing these changes, the farmers been mobilized and formed the farmers producer companies. And after they become farmers producer companies, they started receiving. Thanks a lot that Samanit has already given the first loan. Now, Nafkisan and other people are also going to give the loan. And the farmers started doing these things. In Puri, similar things have happened that the first time they have been packaging and they have been planting trees to sell to the JK paper for the paper mill, the Kajurina trees. And also they are doing, I'll share in other slides, so where the food production things are there. So our farmers are squarely on sustainability sector, and chain of things are happening. And that gives a good livelihood to them, and they're part of this. So this is experience. I think we can. This could be replicated, and then comes the climate resilient. What I was talking about, the fruits. We have distributed free of cost almost 290,000 fruit trees in Puri post to COVID. Post to Fani 2019. Our aim is to go up to 1 crore fruit trees, fruit tree distribution among the smaller marginal farmers. Food productions. Government of Odisha claims it's a surplus food production state, but we have been suffering from the nutrition deficiencies, and we have our fruit market is one of the market with the high potential market, but we are not able to produce fruits. So we have started, making farmers producer companies, and to integrate that, forest regenerating trees like Kajurina, which they can plant and sell it to the paper companies, and that can save from the disaster. Also go for the massive food trees in coastal districts, and that can generate the employment. I was expecting that 1 million trees can generate the employment of 32,000 youths can be employed, MBHs. And the fruit market price could be stabilized better, like pomegranate, like the guava, like the mango. So the local market could be stabilized, and so that customers could be benefited, and employment could be generated, and farmers could be transformed from paddy to a good, remunerative crop. This is the good experience we have planted these things. This is also giving good livelihood, and anybody can come to our farmers producer companies. By now, 15 farmers producer companies been formed. NABARD has joined hands, NAFED has joined hand, and even district administration has joined hand. So I think this is one of the experience gives very good things, and we are dealing with the food deficiency and also creating enterprise and ensuring life. The third thing, the women-led MSMEs, this has been the reality today. I mean, as you all know that Raigada, it's, raw brooms are hugely available, but the middlemen and other people used to take it. And we have started adding value and binding the brooms. And the brooms, even now, we are getting the demand from USA to sell at least 1 lakh brooms in a year. Can be huge. And now our capacity, we have already done the broom business of more than 76 lakh rupees in 2 years. This is possible by, more educated women, I mean, tribal women for the things. We have made them producer groups. We have given them the storage things, and we have given the rural mart supports. They have been binding regularly, off-season, on-season kind of things with farming. They take it, and this has been possible. Like these 30 producer groups happen. Just imagine the broom, like, the turmeric packs, the ragi packs. All these women producer groups, more than 3,000 women out of 6,000 women been mobilized into SHGs are doing in this, and they have been gradually moving from traditional agricultural activities to this, processing and value addition sector. The supply chain gets more robust. And so this is one of the things also giving the things, but I think what does it teach us? It teaches us that while we go for at least analyzing the context and giving them low-hanging fruit, and gradually it can be robust. I can tell you that it is one broom cost in Dallas is around $700, $10. $10 means just imagine how much money there. Here it is only 50 rupees or 60 rupees or 70 rupees. But quality brooms and organic brooms, that's what we are going to produce and do the things. It has given a new hope for the both job, livelihood, and sustainability, sustainable sector employments. Very recently, we have started the natural farming and with the Nanban Foundation. So we are aiming to convert 10% of the total land of Odisha into organic by 10 years, and which is very ambitious. Thankfully, the government of Odisha is also appreciating and being part of this. I'm just giving some realities, and this is going to happen definitely. And Odisha is having 6.5 million of the net sown area, and out of 8 million total cultivable land. And organic sector is one of the unexplored sector. And you know that the best doctor and healthy society के लिए farmer is the key doctor. And only in spite of the schemes and government efforts, everything till now, we have only been able to go for organic farming in 50 districts, only less than 97,000 hectares, with less than 1%. Just imagine if we can make more, considering the demand for the organic foods, organic products, how much employment could be generated. Considering these things, we have now started in 20 clusters, organic natural farming practices for the organic products in Raigada as a pilot districts, Puri as a district of extension, and Cuttack. And we are going to give sustainable livelihoods. And here the Jagadguru Kripali University, Nanban Foundation, USA, and Future Inc. and Sports Trust Foundation taking for implementing this thing. We have very ambitious things to give a good livelihood things. So this is our footprint. These are the main things that have happened, and I could see that supply chain from production to storage and to processing and marketing, this all is happening. So this is what in and also the things. But I wanted to share with you, these are the SDGs who have been localized. I'm just sharing to you other things. This is SHG details. These tribal women have generated more than 12 crore rupees of economy by themselves through the SHGs and the SHG network. And that money has given them a new hope. Coming out with the women missionaries and enterprising things like mushroom. For the first time, these women have demanded mushroom seed production factory in Raigada. And we have started a seed producing factory in Raigada itself for the mushroom, more than 588 women producing mushrooms. And we have given end-to-end solutions and supply. This mushroom seed producing unit also managed by the women. That also gives the 10,000. Sorry. Hello. These are the things that are there, but I think now see, I would be talking about the Bandhan Vikas Kendras, which is very important things. We have 3 Bandhan Vikas Kendras with the government of Odisha and government of India. These every Bandhan Vikas Kendra, 300 women are collecting the NTFs. For the first time, they sold tamarind of 170 quintal, 17 ton, with the increased price. They used to sell 20 rupees. This time they sold 36 rupees because they formed the bandhans. And also they have gone for 100 quintals for the processing, this sambar powder and the tamarind cakes. There are 3 buildings there, and CRE stitching, plate stitching. All these things have happened. So what we have done, we have given institutions for the marketing, institutions for the financing, institutions for the productions, institutions for the starting grading. We have also gone for setting up a rural hut where we have got the cold storage. So if you see that livelihood process, we have created the ecosystem in such a way that a person, if starts doing something, should not face any hiccups anywhere. So these are the success stories in the rural mart, how it's working, and all the things are there. And this rural mart is an NABARD supported project, but we have almost done the things now. Almost they have done a crore rupees business in 3 to 4 years, and they're expecting annual business within 1 crore rupees. And now that has become a women farmers producer company where the shareholding capital goes even more than 60 lakh rupees, and they can do anything. These are the girls' things I have youth engagement. But I think I've shared some of things. My point is livelihood. Now the collector is inaugurating bamboo rakhi. Now the demands are there. We are not able to. I think that the livelihood, the production needs to be continuous and sustainable. And in that sense, if you can, give the handling and other supports and institutionalize and give them capacity and holdings, livelihood is sustainable, and it is in sustainable sector without damaging environment, protecting soil, conserving water, managing social inclusions, everything. So this is what my learning is. I think in a nutshell. Any question, I will take it up. See the women and how the potato and even potato mission also we have been able to successful. National horticulture mission schemes we have been implemented. I think most of the schemes have been implemented through our structures. These are the things there. You can see that this presentation is with you. This is in a nutshell about from me, and I think the livelihood is possible. These are the partners, they come forward and help us. And let's do this effort in other place and help others to do the things. That's what I say. Thank you very much. Any question? Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. And we appreciate your work. And there is a question and answer session to anyone.
I think your voice is, I am not able to, it's not audible to me. The voice is very hazy. I am not able to make out anything. So if, I don't know what the technical problems were.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Sir, can you hear me?
Hello.
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 Sir, can you hear me?
And now I'm here. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, and now it's audible. Please tell me. Yeah.
It's audible. Okay. Sir, this is the round of question and answer, and there is no questions as per se. So, thank you so much, sir, for your session.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your valuable time, sir. It's a great session.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Now it's time for lunch and we will start the session again at 3 p.m. And so everybody have their lunch and join at 3. Thank you.